round 7, the Mother's Day round, and the Bulldogs hoping for an early present as they head here to the GABBA, somewhere they haven't won in their last 7 attempts. But we saw a couple of weeks ago against the Adelaide Crows, when they put it together, the Bulldogs, they are very good. And they are taking on the Brisbane Lions, who, whilst they return to the winning form that we've seen last week with a 48-point win over Essendon, prior to that, their form was terrible, and they're yet to convince the football community that they have returned to the form that saw them play in the last 4 grand finals. Hi, Matthew Campbell with you, and joining me is Gary Ayres. Ayresy, welcome.
Thanks, Matty.
A lot of talk this week has been about Jonathan Brown's return for the Lions and Luke Darcy missing for the Western Bulldogs. But I think importantly for the Bulldogs, Rodney Eater's dropped Jade Rawlings as well.
He's made a statement, Matty, and that's interesting because they haven't got a tall forward, i.e. Darcy, and now they've taken another tall forward, so it's going to be interesting to see how he structures up his forward line.
Who exactly kicks the goals tonight. Important for both teams. 2 wins and 4 losses as we take a look at the ladder. 10th versus 11th. Whoever wins tonight stays in touch.
They do, and of course it's amazing. You said in the opener that they weren't playing well, but they're only a game outside the top 8.
Yes, and all the talk has been about, well, the Lions, they're pretty red-hot favourites tonight, and they're red-hot to win by a big margin. Now, when you were coaching, were you aware of your coaching record against others? Well,
I used to actually read The Age on a Friday, and they had the win-losses against each particular coach, and you always had a little bit of an idea who you were coming up against and the win-loss ratio.
I think Rodney Eater be looking for a change to that. 5 times up against Lee Matthews, and Lee Matthews has won every time, which is a surprising statistic given what Rodney was doing early with the Swans.
It is, and when you pointed that out, I found that hard to believe. It just shows how much dominance Lee Matthews has got.
So we take a look at the respective teams for tonight. Harris must go to Brown.
Well, he's got it. He's their only trump, I think, as far as playing in defence. He's a big fella, he's got the speed, and he needs to certainly quell Jonathan Brown's influence.
Chris Scott has been kicking goals for the Lions up forward as well. Morris, we saw make his debut 2 weeks ago, was very good against McLeod.
He did a super job, and of course they need to quell that actual influence, if you like, of someone like Chris Scott.
Scott West on Michael Voss. No one has touched the footy more in the AFL than Scott West, but Lindsay Gilbey has been the real improver this year. Great to see Matty Robbins back.
It is, and he's rated #1 in the competition, Lindsay Gilbey, and Matty Robbins adds a little bit of experience as well to their lineup.
Troy Selwood also comes in for the Lions with the loss of Daniel Bradshaw. I thought Lepich and Michael were better last week. Murphy and Gian Syracuse are very talented.
Well, they play off each other, and of course they're great players. They really stand up when they need to be. They give them a lot of drive, and Chris Johnson's another one who also gives them a lot of drive off half-back.
Brad Johnson will be captain tonight and will spend a lot of time up forward to try and kick some goals for Rodney Eater. And Will Minson is good, but losing Darcy means he's got to be even better.
And this might be the making of someone like Will, who's young. He gets a chance, and he really does love the contest, and he relishes actually going in against the opposition ruckman.
Cross is coming along as a nice apprentice to Scott West. Ray has come back in the side. Wade Skipper is another tall option for Rodney Eater. He's had to bring back in.
Well, Rodney Eater's got some plans, and he wants to see how these players go over the course of this year, no doubt.
And Adcock, McGrath, Moody and McLaren, the respective bench for the Brisbane Lions. So much has been said about Luke Darcy. He was leading from the front, but he was taking players with him. And we were seeing the best of Darcy. 6 goals against Adelaide, the game we saw. This is a tragedy to once again they've lost their skipper.
Especially being in his first year as captain too, and he was inspirational 2 weeks ago, Matty, against the Crows. Single-handedly turned the game and won the game for the Bulldogs. So he's out, but they need someone else to step up.
Yep. So it's a real opportunity for the Western Bulldogs, but they haven't been good on the road. Wins have been very hard to come by over the last 3 years, and their starts in particular of late have been terrible.
And if you're aiming to play in the top 8, you certainly need to win your away games and get that nice balance between playing at home or away. And that's pretty poor, so Rodney would be pretty keen to see that change.
Well, all the talk this week is about Jonathan Brown. He did say that he will stay with the Lions, and he said, I'll stay if Lee Matthews stays. And Lee Matthews had 8 reasons to stay, and that was against the Bombers last week.
Jonathan Brown, one off his own boot. Now the Brisbane Lions have 2. He's kicked 1, and they can make it 2 from outside 50, out near the boundary. He's done it. In he comes for his 4th. And he's got it again for goal number 5. He is on fire. His kicking has been very good tonight. He has 6 goals too. Well, this is an extraordinary performance from a bloke who hasn't played since last September. And they've got some amazing players, Brisbane. But this man is the king of the jungle.
Join me tonight as we transport you back in time to the hot topics.
It is very, very disheartening.
The memorable moments.
Have you spoken to the umpire yet?
And classic vision from footy's yesteryear.
Footy Flashbacks with Jason Bennett, tonight on Fox Footy Channel.
A superstar on the road to glory, Trinidad is in devastating form. A true champion ready for the spotlight. Wright wants to stop him in his tracks. When invincible meets indomitable, it's a head-on collision. Trinidad versus Wright, live on Main Event, this Sunday, 11 a.m. Call to book now. Foxtel Digital press box office from May 13.
Round 8 fires up Saturday, and Fox Footy save you the best seat in the house. Starting at midday, Jason Dunstall and Wayne Carey take your calls on Fox Footy Saturday Central. At 4 o'clock, live from Subiaco Oval, it's the match of the round as the West Coast Eagles host St Kilda. At 7:30, Amy Stadium comes to life as Adelaide tackles the Brisbane Lions live. At midday, Saturday Central live. Eagles and Saints live from 4. Crows v Lions, 7:30 live, followed by Kangaroos and Bulldogs, then the Hawks and Demons.
Western Bulldogs will be kicking to the left of screen with their fill-in captain, which will be Brad Johnson for the rest of the season. A lot of people saying, Wayne, that the Lions are over the line here. I'm not so sure.
No, look, I think so much will depend, Gary, on what happens in this opening 10 minutes. You certainly want to make sure if you're a Western Bulldogs player, you don't allow Brisbane to get off to the start that they had against Essendon. Best way of doing that, I don't think be too negative initially. Go in with an attacking frame of mind and say, look, most people expect us to lose. Let's go out there and attack them, try and catch them off guard in the opening stanza.
Well, certainly be positive, Wayne. And look, you've got to make sure that Jonathan Brown doesn't get off to the start that he did last week. So it'll be interesting to see. And certainly congratulations to Mark Fraser in having his first go at real umpiring, if you like, at this particular level. Great effort for the guy.
Fantastic to see. And I'm sure he'd be very nervous there tonight, but it's been a good program put in place, and he makes his AFL debut tonight here at the GABBA.
Ever thought of trying a hand there, Gary? Bit easier than coaching.
Well, it certainly would be, Wayne, I'd imagine, but then I'm used to copping a fair bit of bloody flack, so...
You've had your fair share of abuse over the times, haven't you?
That's it, certainly right there, Matty, but no, wouldn't be able to do it, I wouldn't imagine.
Interesting to see how the respective teams line up, given the major injury, especially to the Western Bulldogs. We've got Brad Johnson out on the half-forward flank at the moment, so he's a long way from goal. And heading towards goal is Adam Morgan for the Western Bulldogs.
I think it's a good move to have Mitch Hahn in the forward line there. We know that Brisbane like to zone off. The defensive pressure becomes all the more important with your inspirational skipper out of the side, Gary.
He's a real goal, Wayne, and certainly he will look to lock the ball in as much as possible.
And the Brisbane players all huddling there at centre half forward around Jonathan Brown. Chris Grant to pick him up in the early stages.
Oh, we're set to go here at the GABBA on a Saturday night. Brett Allen to begin proceedings. Underway, Keating up against Minson, the 227s to do battle. Keating with a secondary tap, going through cross. Eagleton caught high, first kick of the evening. Will go to the Bulldogs.
Another interesting move too, Matty, early is that Harris has gone to Chris Scott. So perhaps a mismatch, i.e. he's a bit stronger, a bit bigger than Scott.
Here is Scott trying to run down Cross, who has to go back to Harris. Back to Cross. Here comes Michael Morgan, long way from goal, short pass. Good lead, Gian Siracusa. But he's a leading forward at the moment with their setup. He's right on 50.
You just look at the amount of numbers there that actually flooded into Footscray's forward 50.
Lots of numbers back, and once again Morgan, who's been very busy. First game for the year. He joined Skipper and Robbins as first gamers for 2005. He's trying to buy some land at the moment, trying to creep around about 20 metres.
Now this is stating the obvious, but this is a vitally important kick because they've got to make sure they capitalise and get some early scoreboard pressure on the Brisbane Lions.
And I think also too, Wayne, for Morgan's confidence as much as anything, because he's really battled since he came across from Port Adelaide.
Just the 2 career goals for Adam Morgan. A handy one, number 3. Looks pretty good off the boot. He's happy. The Dogs are off to the start they want, and they're pumped up.
Terrific start by the Bulldogs. And we see a number of the players. That shows the importance of Adam Morgan kicking that goal. The senior players getting around him, rewarding him, telling him well done. But as we said, Gary, that's the start they want. The momentum can change quite quickly. When you get limited opportunities up forward, you must capitalise.
And it was good play here by Gian Siracusa too. He's actually gone back outside the forward 50. Morgan's ran in, and he sure passed it back to him. So a good goal.
So the Bulldogs open up the scoring. That will please Rodney Eve, but the job is a long way from being done here at the Gabba. Western Black doing some work off the ball. Keating got a hand in there. Minson did well, the big man. Second attempt, quick ball inside 50. Hahn got his hands to it, couldn't take the mark. Copeland set upon. Good tackling there by the Bulldogs. Brad Johnson. And we'll have a bounce. 40 from goal, directly in front. Bulldogs attacking 50.
I know it's only 2 minutes in, Wayne, but certainly the Western Bulldogs are setting the tone at the moment. They are quite pumped up and they're having a real go.
Intent.
Lions yet to touch the footy.
Keating clears the forward 50 for the Bulldogs momentarily. West, quick handball to Minson from 52. The big ruckman. This for the Bulldogs, second, just offline. Disappointed finish by Will Minson, but early stages, Gary, you'd have to be impressed if you're a Bulldog supporter.
Well, you would, because they've certainly come out with a positive attitude and they're here to play. So it'll be interesting to see how the Brisbane Lions respond.
Chris Johnson to bring the ball in. Long, Tim Notting on his own. Beautiful kick from Johnson, but West did well. Unfortunately for him, the infringement. Running hard now, Lepic. Out on the wing. Poor kick. Was attempting to find Chris Scott. Going back, Hargrave. Under pressure. Pike trying to keep it in. There's a whistle, and it'll be a boundary throw-in.
It's a confidence too, I think, builder here, Matthew, for young Selwood. He's actually playing on Lindsay Gilbey at the moment, so I think that's a good matchup, and Lee Matthews is showing a lot of faith in the young boy, Wayne.
Throw in, right forward pocket. 1-1, Brisbane yet to score. This is their first foray inside 50. Keating works his way to the front. Minson did well with strength. Cross. 2 Brisbane tacklers, one of which is Luke Power, the other one Sherman. We'll have another bounce.
Another interesting matchup too is Ackermanis on Kearney, so you'd like to see how that pans out for the rest of the evening.
Johnson wrapped up by Power. Ball coming out of that congested area. Spills towards Notting. First there is Sherman. Notting wider. Scott. Brad Scott. They concede ground back. And we've got a behind. So the first score for the Brisbane Lions. And, well, that's the first score of the night. 7-1. The Bulldogs lead by a straight kick.
Gilbey, designated kicker, goes to himself. Well, his kicking skills are a delight to watch. McMahon comes back in, ball centre of the ground. Grant, he's got a runner in Eagleton. Can come further afield. Good run by Hargraves. This is promising by the Bulldogs now. Important kick, goes long towards the square. Gian Syracuse has got the back spot. Lunges on his way back. It was Robbins. Couldn't get a hand to it. But, Gary, that was very promising by the Bulldogs.
It was very well worked, and we know how great disposal Lindsay Gilbey is, and of course he's hit the target. Chris Grant through the middle, out wide to Hargraves, and then he's gone to the hot spot. So the Bulldogs worked the ball in very, very well.
They're the best team in taking the ball from their defensive 50 to score goals. This is Michael, who received the kick from Johnson. Goes to a 2-on-1 situation. Well done by Morgan. Voss. Quick hands Notting. Thought about Black. Decided to kick to Lappin. Johnson infringed. Similar to the West infringement from earlier. So Nigel Lappin will take the kick. A slow start to his year, but running into some form over the last fortnight. Dogs get plenty of numbers back. Lappin decides Brown is the option. Misses him by a mile. Power didn't get there. Cross did. To Smith. To Minson. Over the top. Morgan, who's been very busy already. Now Rowan Smith measures the kick. Outside to Gian Syracuse. Back to West. Improvises. He did well. But unfortunately for the Dogs, now Michael was standing in his way.
Ackermanis gets the handball from Michael. Comes back inboard. Lappin starting to find the ball early. Nigel Lappin out towards his skipper, Michael Voss. Grant there for pressure. Terrific tap on to Chris Johnson. And goes short to Brown. Steers the kick in that direction. Strong mark, Jonathan Brown. And looks as though he might have worn an indiscreet knee from Harris. Quickly on to Voss. High ball towards the top of the square. They'll contest. Good spoil there. Cooney to gather the loose ball. Composure from the young man. Gets it off to Cross. Not out of trouble yet. Finds Eagleton. Still camped deep inside defensive 50. But the Bulldogs standing up well under the early pressure. Trying to indicate to his teammates, let's huddle. Goes out wide. Cross. Short, closing, nodding. Did well, affected the spoil. Kick meant for Morgan. We'll have a throw in. Outer side of the ground, 60 from Brisbane's goal.
That's the only thing, Wayne, or Matt, if they're actually going to play that possession game. If they are going to be patient, they've got to be very, very good with their foot skills. One mistake, and of course we see now here there's a boundary throw in.
It'll be Keating and Minson once again. Black. Miss Sherman, Lappin. Through a bit of traffic to the top of the square. Harris in best position. Takes a strong mark. Ryan Harris away. And can keep going. A little chip past to Johnson. Good running. His partner in crime, Smith. Direct football, one-on-one. Chance here for the Dogs. Gian Syracuse was there. Johnson did well to spoil. Lepic going wider. Ackermanis. Just holding it up. Now decides to head down the line. Keating his target. Just gave Minson a little shove, then didn't take the mark. Tapping it forward. This is West going back to cross. They share it. Cooney comes in to lend a hand. That's well played because Eagleton's away. He's in space. Centre wing on a Saturday night at the Gabba. What can he do, Nathan Eagleton? Gee, well, he messed that up. Put Gian Syracuse under enormous pressure. Michael comes in to wrap him up. Smith, torpedo punt to the goal square. Never know what can happen here. Matty Robbins goes back and takes the mark. I reckon Rodney would be pretty happy Robbins one-on-one back there. Very talented.
He is, and he's got the speed, and he's also got a terrific spring for his size as well, Matty. So he knows how to play the game, and he's a good athlete. So it'll be very interesting to see how much of an influence he can exert on this game tonight. But I thought they stuffed it up there with Eagleton originally, because I think he should have kicked initially to Gian Syracuse. But once again, that dangerous kick to the hot spot has got the Western Bulldogs with the shot on goal.
So Matthew Robbins back into the side. Game number 98. Turns 28 tomorrow on Mother's Day. Gets his first for the evening, and the Dogs have two. Great start for the Western Bulldogs. They lead by 13 points, and already we've seen very direct play from the team tonight.
It's basically the fast break footy as far as I can see, Wayne. They are very good at getting numbers behind the ball, and we've seen how stop-start the Brisbane Lions have been thus far. Whereas when Western Bulldogs win it, it's that chip short kick, especially retain possession. But once they get centre forward, then they actually are driving it long to that dangerous spot about 15, 20 metres out from goal.
2-2 to the Western Bulldogs. The Brisbane Lions, one behind, 13-point margin. It's the start. Rodney Eade we've been looking for. Minson this time against McLaren. Minson got it down to McMahon to West. Starting to find the ball, Scott West to Cooney. They link up well. McMahon on his wrong side goes towards Hahn. Lepic with a good spoil. Straight up the middle of the ground. Bouncing ball for Brad Scott. Gets it off to Ackermanis. Brisbane on the charge now. Heads towards half forward. Chris Scott got his hands to it. Voss. Well, Brisbane just a little bit messy at the moment to Pike. He heads towards Brown. One out with Grant. Too much on the kick. Out of bounds, we'll have a throw in up against the left forward pocket for Brisbane.
And it's as we thought too, Wayne, that Jonathan Brown has dictated his starting point at the centre bounce. He'll come and push up as if he's playing centre half forward, then he'll go back to full forward as he did at that previous centre bounce.
McLaren against Minson. Neither ruckman got a hand on the ball. Voss gets the free kick. Cross doing some hard work. Good tackle. Minson did well, the big man. Got it out to Rowan Smith, the veteran. Clears the congested zone. Heads up towards the wing. His partner in crime, Brad Johnson, got a good bounce. Did well. Great control. Heads down towards the line. That's a strong mark. Morgan wants to play on to the goal square. Chris Johnson read it best in front of Gian Syracuse. Both Hahn and Lepic fell as the ball came in, and Brisbane clear for the moment. Selwood.
Selwood has Lappin over the top, running hard. Now, is he going to stop? No, he's going to keep going. Now, he's put Chris Scott under some pressure. Fends off Gilby. Heads long. Grant and Cross going back. Nice work by Cross. Power kept it in. Likes to hit a target. Does so. Matthew Moody on the end of it. But you mentioned as the ball was in the air, Gary. It was a great kick. Luke Powder doesn't like to waste the footy.
He's very, very good with his skills. And we saw then that he actually did have a quick look and look back into the corridor, Matty. And then, of course, Moody was running into that space. And it was just a well-weighted
It was a dictating kick, wasn't it? I'll kick it here, you run onto it, you do the rest.
He kicked to the space, not to the player.
Moody kicks the goal, his first in AFL footy. He gets Lions first for the evening, and that'll make him pretty happy. His second game, made his debut last week.
And certainly the Brisbane Lions need to get that goal on the board, because really the Western Bulldogs have outplayed them up until this point in time, Wayne. And Lee Matthews would have been saying, well, we need someone to score a goal. And here you see with Luke Powder, he's looked back inside, he's gone again to the space in front of the player, and it was just a well-weighted kick. Good goal.
Wade Skipper replaces Will Minson. Minson's done his job early. They've cleared the ball 3 times out of the centre circle, the Bulldogs. Skipper got a favourable bounce. Ackermanis this time. Clears, goes towards Brown, slipped, lunges at the ball. Grant kept his feet, gets it to Smith. Still inside defensive 50, Rowan Smith. He's got time and support. One of those is Harris. Comes out to the near side of the ground. He's got Cooney. With some time, Adam Cooney can go into Scott West if he wants short. Ignores that. G in Syracuse has got rid of Chris Johnson. Got a good bounce. Gets to 47 metres for the quick reply. Daniel G in Syracuse replies with his first for the evening, and the Bulldogs have 3.
Just puts the pressure back on to the Brisbane Lions.
Well, once again, they've run it out of their defensive 50 and scored a goal.
And the interesting thing with that one, Matty, was that we probably won't see it here, but actually when Cooney gets the ball, Chris Johnson was about 10 metres in front of G in Syracuse. So, of course, he's then doubled back, and it was, again, a well-weighted kick in front of G in Syracuse. He's gathered it on the run, and he's kicked a good goal.
Goals to Gian Syracuse, Robbins and Morgan. So the Dogs with the quick answering goal. And they've been slow starters, as we mentioned at the top of the program, but not tonight. Copeland wrapped up nicely by McMahon's strong tackle. We'll have a secondary bounce. They lead by 13 points, almost halfway through this first term.
Troy Selwood doing a good job on Lindsay Gilby too, Matt. He's only had 1 possession to this point in time.
Again, umpire Allen to bounce. Plenty of players around the ball. Skipper went a bit early. McLaren knocked it forward. West got it out to Cross, who got it to Gilby. They share it well. Morris smothered by Ackermanis, though. Morris goes again. Ackermanis gives away the free kick. And so good hard work by Dale Morris. Eventually comes up with the possession he was looking for. Gets the run from Ryan Hargraves. Too much on the kick. Johnson too much on the jump. The ball runs over the boundary line once again. Still positive signs here for the Bulldogs. They just want to share the ball as soon as they get it.
What's very evident is the amount of run that they're generating by creating a handball and link play.
Handballs received are way up, 25 to 10. They're sharing it around. They're doing it again here. Cross, usually the man on the end of it. Gilby, the man with the golden boot. Michael the spoil. Back into the corridor. Fumble from Notting. Could be costly. Robbins kept it alive. Eagleton trying to do likewise. McLaren did well, the big man. Power, waiting. Well, he almost ran out his partner there. And that was Brad Scott, who kicks it short to Sherman.
But I also think there's another good move here that's going on in the course of this quarter, is that Brad Johnson's running with Nigel Lappin. He seems to be serving it up to his leaders, as in Rocket.
Pike had to do the spoil. Hargraves had worked his way to the front. The Bulldogs have numbers here, one of which Scott West. Got it to McMahon. Dangerous handball. Eagleton. Well, he did well there. Nice tap out. Deft hands to Robert Murphy. Accelerates. Goes towards Hahn. Leppich puts the body on him. Loose ball Morgan. Got a hand to it. Couldn't take possession. Over the top. Should be a free kick. G in Syracuse on Mel Michael. So the Lions under siege here at the moment. Bulldogs 3-2, play 1-1. Michael called to play on. Well, there's plenty of room for Brad Scott if he wants to head up the middle. There's a lot of one-on-one contests, Gary, further up the field, though. That's obviously the instruction by Rodney Eade. Don't allow them to get into space and link up. Leppich, it's time for a bounce. Steers the ball down towards McLaren. takes the mark just inside the boundary line.
And the other thing we see, Wayne, with that occurring, that actually the Brisbane lines are being forced wide rather than going down the corridor.
McLaren is going to take his time. And just what the Bulldogs defence wants. A kick to the contest. Brown and Grant, and also Skipper. Could have marked it, Skipper. Took the safer option. We'll have another ball in.
We certainly don't like to see long-term injuries, i.e. Luke Darcy, but it'd be great to see this young kid, as in Wade Skipper, get an opportunity now.
Yep. It's his third season. Time to put some games together now. He'll get that opportunity.
I think Chris Grant would be very happy with Jonathan Brown trying to wrestle.
Yep,
I think
sure.
Jonathan Brown on the lead creates more concerns for Chris Grant.
Boundary throwing right on the 50 this time. It's McLaren and Skipper. Trying to pinch it was Lappin. Keane just did enough to advantage Scott West. Handball along the line. Ackermanis misses Black. Taken again by West. He's everywhere at the moment. Cooney. Another ball in. Scott West already with 9 disposals. And just another day at the office for Scott West.
And Matty, Mel Michael's on his own in the Brisbane Lions defensive 50. Will Minson's actually just come on, so he's really a spare, if you like, in defence. And now Wade Skipper's made the move and he's going forward. He'll go to Mel Michael.
Minson infringed, pushing the back against Dylan McLaren. McManus, possession number 6, the leading possession winner for Brisbane, heads towards the pocket.
That's
Brown, third, fourth attempt. Harris wanted to touch the ball, but on that occasion, Jonathan Brown, we were just talking about it, much better and more dangerous for Chris Grant as an opponent when he's on the lead like that. Terrific kick by Ackermanis. Tight angle. But in his form, he showed in his comeback game last week, you'd think that this is every chance to go through.
Oh, it's a tough kick.
Jonathan Brown announced his return in spectacular fashion last week. 8 goals, 2. And delay it off. Had a lot of vacant players for Brisbane, but Chris Scott got himself in front of Brian Harris, and he takes the mark. Opens up the angle a little bit.
And he's been a really good forward for him too over the last probably 3 to 4 weeks.
5 and 3 in the last 2 weeks.
And you need someone like him because you spoke about before about Mitch Hart being a competitor in the Bulldogs forward 50. Well, this guy is certainly one for the Brisbane Lions, and his ability to lead. He's also improved his accuracy with shot kicking for goal.
Career high, 5 goals, 3. Round 5 loss to West Coast here at the Gabba. This for his first. Chris Scott pushes it across the face of goal. Just scrapes it in for a behind. Give a bloke a rap.
We should never do that, ever.
Scotty West off well earned. Scotty rest. He's just an amazing player. 6-time best and fairest. Just knows how to find the footy. Already with 9 disposals, as I mentioned.
He's averaged 29 possessions the last 4 times these two sides have met. Suggests he's one of those players they like to let off the rein.
It can hurt you, though.
Minson receives the ball on the wing. Decides to have a bounce to the big man. Then comes back in short to Gian Siracusa. Proving a handy fall up forward. He's got Smith out wide if he wants to go there. Brisbane getting numbers back now. Short. Robbins plays on. Maybe into trouble. No, he's up to the task. Chips a high ball towards Skipper. Oh, he did well. Fortunately, couldn't take the mark on the second attempt. Martin Pike relieves for the moment. Finds Lappin, who will go to Leppich. They're away, Brisbane.
They combine on the back line. The kick was quite clever in the end. It was off the side of the boot deliberately. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Sherman back to Lappin. Wider to Power. The Stars combining. Brown wants it long. Notting wants it short. Voss wanted it. Didn't get it. Now, here's the rebound that the Western Bulldogs are so good at. Gilby to Hargraves. Straight up the corridor. Measures the kick and picks out Justin Leppich. Well, Mitchell Hahn was on the end of it. Gabba crowd want a free kick for Leppich, but he's going to have to go back and help out Mal Michael. Goes back to Johnson. Evades Cooney and can head to the wing to Selwood. Notting provides an option for him. Steps Morris easily. Brown wants it long. Notting hooks the kick. Brown gets it. There's a free kick against Ackermanis on Jordan McMahon for a push. And Brown won't be going back and having the shot.
Brown Colin Smith has been busy. Short to Boyd. They've certainly come to play, Gary, in the first quarter of the Bulldogs.
No doubt, Wayne. Look, I think one matchup that Lee Matthews has been worried about is Minson in the ruck on McLaren and also to Keating. Keating's really yet to touch the ball. McLaren's been okay, so I certainly feel that they need to actually match him up and run with him to stop his influence, especially around the contest.
Eagleton around the corner to Gilby. Goes back to where it came from. Moody, good pressure. McMahon backs himself. Tucks the ball under his arm, and that's a good kick on the wrong side for a left footer. Finds Hargrave. Murphy breaks. So does Robbins. Moores both. Now decides to go long. Skipper. Michael with a good spell, but coming through. There was Cooney. Has some time now. Steady. Slips at the wrong moment. Intended the handball for Wade Skipper. The ball goes out of bounds. That's unfortunate. But again, the Bulldogs looking threatening when they're heading inside 50, Gary.
He read that extremely well out of Cooney, and really he was a bit stiff that he actually tripped himself up. Otherwise, he was having a shot on goal. But that's the class of someone like Adam Cooney so early on in his career.
Minson was up against McLaren. Gian Siracusa just did enough to get it to Boyd. Voss on hands and knees to McDonald. Squeezes the kick to the advantage of Pike. Not much ahead of him. Has to go back to Brad Scott. He'll get it back, Pike. Johnson running hard. Brown's got some space to run into, but Grant's in the right spot. And well done by the former skipper. Read it the better.
He could be getting a bit frustrated too, Jonathan Brown. I think he's got all the right, because I don't believe they've actually delivered the ball well to Jonathan Brown. He wants it in space, and they're kicking it on his head all the time.
Here's a chance for the Bulldogs, but they've messed it up. Murphy and Cooney were trying to share it. Now Voss, he's given it up. Minson, the big man, chips over the top. He was looking for Cross, nodding, going back, and gee, physical tackle by Cross, and we'll have a ball in inside the 450 of the Bulldogs, who lead by 12 points, and we've got 3 minutes remaining in the first term. Let's go down to Tiff Cherry on the boundary.
The players are pretty tired, coming off pretty ferocious pace out there, and we see Scott West on the bike at the moment with the fan going. The Bulldogs obviously not as used to the warmer conditions. About 20 degrees, fairly warm down here.
And there we see modern technology working wonderful things for Scotty West. Well,
there's always been fans of the footy.
Lovely, Matthew. Lovely. The Bulldogs inside 50 again as we make our way towards quarter time. 12-point margin. Another goal heading into the break would be handy for the Dogs. Hahn out of the pack. Bouncing ball, top of the square. Eagleton, he's there on his hands and knees. Intercepted by Lappin. They're not out of it yet, Brisbane. Leppich to no one in particular. Well, favourable bounce, and had a couple of Brisbane teammates there, one of which was nodding. He heads towards the outer side of the ground. I think Brisbane will be rather happy to have the ball out of their defensive zone at the moment, Gary.
And certainly the Western Bulldogs, when they're going into their forward 50, Wayne, they seem much more adept at actually scoring, whereas when it goes into the Brisbane lines, it's really Jonathan Brown or nothing at this stage.
Boundary throw in. Minson over the top, was looking for McMahon. Beautifully picked up. Gian Siracusa shares it with Johnson. Works Cooney into the open. He does the same. Robbins for his second, for the Bulldogs' fourth. Tough angle. He's missed it. Just the behind, and that would have been the crucial one that you're talking about, Wayne, right before quarter time. But as it stands, they're still dominating play. Inside forward 50, 16-11, and 6 scoring shots to 3. Johnson to bring it in for the Lions. It's gone short and long. This time again short. Brad Scott measures to McDonald. Voss gets the next chip kick. Selwood wants it on the wing. But they've closed it down well, the Bulldogs. Minson worked hard. Voss going long. Morris was with Moody. Lappin, well read by Johnson. Moody, gone. Good tackle by Morris. Hargrave over the top of him. McGrath won't get a free kick there. We'll have a ball up.
What was really noticeable there was Daniel Cross could have left his man to support Brad Johnson. The intelligence of saying, no, we won't overcommit too many players, therefore creating a loose man for Brisbane, was really smart, intelligent football, Daniel Cross. Chris Scott hurriedly around the corner. The bounce will favour Grant. You'd think the veteran would be happy to see it over the boundary line. That's where it finishes. We'll have a throw in right forward pocket. 13-point margin in favour of the Bulldogs. Gary, what you expected?
Well, not really, Wayne. I would have thought the Brisbane Lions would have come out and really ground away as they do up here. And certainly at the moment, the Western Bulldogs have taken it right up to them, and they're actually playing the better football.
Vincent got a hand on it. McMahon out of the air towards Hargraves. Selwood arrived late, couldn't get a hand on it. Lappin mops up. Got around the loose tackler of Boyd. Nigel Lappin heads towards the goal square. Grant and Brown, one out. Brown with strength, got his hands on it. Grant up to the task, got a deft hand in there. Rush behind. That's good defensive work from the veteran for the Bulldogs.
Well, that's a win so far for Grant, isn't it, Gary? It's going well.
It certainly is. And as you said before, with his actual body strength, he's more than capable of matching it with Jonathan Brown, and he's doing very, very well at the moment. He's getting assistance from other guys pushing back there as well.
We're inside the last minute. Brad Johnson to Boyd. Straight up the middle to Murphy. Again, the Bulldogs look promising coming out of their defensive 50. They look much more dangerous. Boyd runs on. Now just slowing it down. Well, it may be costly. He doesn't know there's only 14 seconds left in the quarter. Running through the Toyota sign to the middle. Long ball. Wants skipper. Lepic going across the spoil. Voss front and square. Back to Lepic. Kick too far for Selwood. And right on quarter time, the ball runs over the boundary line. And that's something the Western Bulldogs haven't done for 2005. And that's get off to a good start and win the first quarter. Just what they were looking for here at the GABBA on a Saturday night. They lead by 2 straight kicks. Jonathan Brown has only had 2 disposals. So everything Rodney Eade has set out to do, and his arrival here tonight has worked nicely for him. It's been a good start. The Bulldogs lead by 12 points. And the goal scorers, Gian Siracusa, Morgan and Robbins, all going well for the Western Bulldogs. 1 quarter down, 3 to go. They lead by 12 points.
Last week on The Gospel.
What actor would play you in a movie? And David Teague had Brad Pitt.
You fancy yourself a bit as an actor, though?
No, I don't. Yeah, you do.
Got no ambition. Brownie, you know very well.
He does. This is a bit of an Owen Wilson type.
That's The Gospel, Friday on Fox Footy Channel.
I love a laugh. The Simpsons, Seinfeld, Will and Grace. I can't get enough of them, but it doesn't mean I rule my life by them. If I have some pressing engagements or I just want to drop in on a friend, I know my shows will be repeated 2 hours later on a second channel.
With a variety of extra time shift channels, ensuring you have twice as much chance of seeing your favourite shows, it's the choice you've come to enjoy, plus greater convenience. That's what makes digital simply better. Call today to upgrade.
Wednesday, in another exclusive Fox Footy feature, Wayne Schwass discovers that the 2004 AFLPA Indigenous Camp encompassed much more than football.
Bit of an eye-opener for some of the players.
40 of the AFL's Indigenous stars embark on a journey of discovery where they're exposed to the rich culture of local communities and made aware of social responsibilities.
On some communities, it's a matter of life and death.
A special community-round Fox Footy feature, the 2004 Indigenous Players Camp, Wednesday on Fox Footy Channel.
Lee Matthews still with plenty to say. Let's find out what's been happening down at ground level. Here's Tiffany Cherry.
Well, no injuries to report on either side, which is good. About the only big difference is that Rodney Eade preferred to use almost that entire break to address his players, telling them to continue doing what they're doing, continue to kick long, and obviously very, very pleased with their skills at the moment. Whereas Lee, he spent almost that entire break looking at his matchup boards, trying to decide just what to do.
Thanks, Tiff. And I think Lee needs to get a bit more out of Black and Power and some of the bigger names.
Yes, easier said than done, because as we've said in that first quarter, there's a lot of one-on-one matchups. But interestingly, though, real strength of Brisbane has been zoning off, getting a loose man in defence. Western Bulldogs are honouring players that are on the lead, which makes those Brisbane opponents more accountable.
And the other thing too, Wayne, is that I know we touched on it in that first quarter, but their ability actually to get more out of their ruckman. And that's going to be an important duel. If they can't negate Minson, they've got a long road ahead of them.
Yeah, Clark Keating, we just saw on the picture there. Will Minson, a great start. 6 disposals already.
Keating, no.
Keating, 0. McLaren, 3. And it's Big Will to kick off the second quarter. Up against Keating. Keating wins this one. Too fierce for Lappin, going back. Eagleton. Sherman did well to get it to Lappin. Quick ball forward. Chris Scott's on the end of it. So maybe Keating was listening to you, Gary.
starting two small forwards out of the goal square too there, Matty. You had Voss and Chris Scott, and it was actually a great lead by Chris Scott. But again, a well-weighted kick from Nigel Lappin, and there's nothing a defender can do about that.
Scott with 8 goals, 4 coming into the game already with a behind for the evening. Looking for number 9. It's not a good kick, it's a woeful kick. And that's his second behind.
Are they feeling the heat already, Matty?
Well, there was always a doubt now, given, I mean, we talked about at the start of the program, even though they had a good win last week, they weren't that impressive. Brown was good.
West breaks. Bouncing ball, read it best. Tap to Hargraves, gives it back towards West. Has some time now, can steady Scott West. Possession number 10. Gian Siracusa plays on, good mark. Goes short towards Robbins. Just worked it well there, the Bulldogs. As I said, they take it down the other end of the ground and present themselves opportunities of scoring from kickouts. And Hahn with a strong tackle coming through Morgan to Murphy. Got a hand on it. Still not out of trouble, the Lions. Clark Keating down on the ground. Coming through Hahn with strength. The Bulldogs have taken it from one end to the other without a Brisbane player getting a hand, a confident hand on the ball. And that's the start the Bulldogs were after, Gary.
And that's the movement that we know the Western Bulldogs can play. And they certainly, at all stages, kept the ball going. It was a tap from West.
Taps all along.
It was. And it's just about gaining yardage by actually moving the ball forward. And in the end, Mitch Harns capitalised on that and ran into open goal. But it was probably a risky kick from Matty Roberts to come back into the corridor. But certainly a great play to work the ball forward, and they scored a goal, as we said.
Mitch Hahn with his 6th goal of the season. And they've made the Chris Scott error at one end, straight down for another goal. Great work by the Dogs. They're at it again. Scott West. Cooney there. Irrepressible out of the centre at the moment. The spoil came from Lepich. In the right spot, Murphy. Hooking it back to the hot spot. Very high. Johnson. Right with him, Robbins. Cooney just slapped it forward again. Johnson off the ground. Another goal to the Bulldogs. The captain gets his. And the Western Bulldogs get another goal. They take it out to a 23-point lead. And once again, Gary, just keeping it alive in the forward line.
And they're doing very, very well in the centre square with West. And Cooney really initiated that. Then he's followed up the ball and got it to Brad Johnson. And Brad Johnson's kicked a goal. So once again, they are winning the ball, and that is contested ball, and forcing it forward.
Simon Black heads out of the square, replaced by Michael Voss. Worried look on Clark Keating's face, and rightly so. Big Will Minson is doing well, the young man for the Bulldogs. Brad Johnson gets the Bulldogs 5th, the margin 23 points. Ball stripped out of Power's hands. Cross goes inside 50. Eagleton applies the tackle on Brad Scott. Voss clears the ball out in the direction of Ackermanis. McMahon in pursuit. Ackermanis goes long towards Chris Scott. Gets a hand to McGrath. The quick reply for Brisbane. Ash McGrath gets his first. And the Lions respond with one of their own.
Certainly don't have to take control of the ball at times. And once again, we see the clever use of a tap here from Chris Scott. And Ash McGrath was in the right spot, and he's just laid it off. And really, the Brisbane Lions did need that goal, because the Western Bulldogs were looking very dangerous.
Seeing a lot of tap ball at the moment. A lot of forwards just keeping alive. It's good to see.
Very much an advantageous play at times, Matty.
Ash McGrath gets the Lions second. He has a personal best of 6 goals against the Western Bulldogs. The final round of 2003. Long way for that to come as Johnson wins another centre clearance for the Dogs. Murphy trying to get past a couple of tacklers in McDonald and Copeland, and was unsuccessful.
Just shows how good Scotty West is in the middle too, Matty. He's already had 11 possessions, and the game's really only going, what, 1 quarter and 4 or 5 minutes.
Minson and Keating, and Voss has got the job now on West. Here he is again. Got to beat Ackermanis. Somehow it falls into Ackermanis' hands. He's dangerous on the left. Chris Scott diving, didn't take it. Holding free kick. It's within range, or will he share it? His brother wanted it.
He'd probably give it off after his last 2 attempts at goal, Matty.
Oh, I reckon he's the sort of bloke who would think, no, I've got to get on the right side of the ledger. He's got 2 behinds. Lining up for his first. Last kick was terrible. Just outside 50. Wayne Schwartz called it off the boot. It's still in play. We were almost about to mark that down.
I was about to high-five.
Yeah. And a rush behind, so it'll be the Dogs to kick in, and Chris Scott's still yet to get his first goal. Big Will Minson, right on the line, slaps it back.
An interesting ploy here too, Matty, with the kick-in. We've got the huddle employed by the Western Bulldogs, and they're really quite good, as we've said, about working it out to the wing, but in that case it was just a drop mark.
Dale Morris did a terrific job then, because Jed Adcock had Chris Scott in support. He dropped the mark, but to follow up with a tackle, well, there you go. Scotty West, Gilby, Johnson, all getting over there.
Second effort was terrific, wasn't it?
Minson with strength. The big man just slaps it forward, gains an extra 20 metres. Selwood. No, it's McDonald. I apologise. McMurphy. Johnson around the corner. Well, we'll get it right eventually, but that's Mel Michael. I'm sure of that. He hits a high ball. Sherwood infringed. He wins himself a free kick. No, I'm having a great night here. It's Matthew Moody.
It's McMoody.
It's an Irish guy.
Gets it to Lappin. Oh, no, that man. Heads out wide. Good mark on the second attempt, Copeland. A lot of numbers back, though, in the Brisbane forward line. One of those is Big Will Minson. He heads towards the goal square. Copeland can square it up. Not a bad ploy. That goes to Power. Normally a good user of the ball. Steers it in the direction of Jonathan Brown. Well-weighted kick. And the big forward will go back and have a shot at goal.
It shows how dangerous that kick across ground can be when you actually come back. Exactly. The change of direction just opens up so much of the ground. And when you see once again here, the actual focus on someone like Jonathan Brown, though. And Jonathan Brown is going to be a very dangerous player on Chris Grant if he continues to lead, go forward, bail out of the lead, go back, and really keep Chris Grant guessing as to where he's going to lead. In that case, the delivery was spot on.
Brown searching for his first. Well, kick from inside 50. He was pretty good off the boot last week. That one comes around, and he kicks the goal. He's on the board for one, and the Lions creep a bit closer. Margin back to 10 points. I guess, how would he have been feeling, Gary? From an ex-coach's point of view, you come back, you dominate a game, you get all the press. A lot of pressure on him, extra pressure that he's not used to having.
And especially in this case too, where all week we thought Bradshaw was going to be actually the one coming back to play and take a bit of that pressure off Jonathan, but he's working his way between centre-half forward and full forward. They're playing Chris Scott out there, but we know this guy can handle the pressure. He's a wonderful, wonderful player.
So the Bulldogs opened up the second quarter with 2 goals, and Brisbane have responded with 2 of their own. That man there on screen, Jonathan Brown, gets his first for the evening. Minson again. Voss clears the congestion, gets it over to Lappin. The old firm combining. There's a free kick on play. Off the ball, Chris Grant has been deemed to be holding Jonathan Brown illegally, and he'll go back, kick his second in a minute.
Teeing off, McLaren's been on, and they just seem to be a little bit better with McLaren in the ruck, especially the centre bounces.
That's the importance of a captain when his side needs him to have an influence. Michael Voss, a few moments ago, injected himself into the centre square. He's got a couple of possessions, which has led to Jonathan Brown lining up for his second goal.
And like all sides, Brisbane look very dangerous when they can get it in quickly. I know this was an infringement, but certainly they're at their best when they win it quickly out of the middle. And now Jonathan Brown's having a shot on goal.
For number 2, and squeezes it in.
We certainly know how much Jonathan Brown... We certainly know how much Jonathan Brown means to the Brisbane line, especially in the absence of Bradshaw, as we said before. But he's a power forward. And look, Chris Grant's going to try and do everything that he possibly can to stop him leading, because we've already identified where Chris Grant can get himself into trouble. He's not as quick as he once was. But Jonathan Brown, if they can get it in quickly to him, I think he'll do the job.
I think you made a very good point, Wayne, that Michael Voss put himself in the centre, said, Blackie, get out, I'm going in. Four-point margin. the Bulldogs. All of a sudden, the Lions kick the last 3. Minson knocks it towards West. Voss again, though. And again, he shares it with Lappin, who just bangs it long. Brown goes back. Big spoil. Now the rebound again. Scotty West back to help out. Adcock the tackler. West again. McGrath coming through for the Lions, just trying to keep it alive. Morris shared it with West. In turn, Smith to Johnson. And they combine as usual. Look at West. Back and forward, helping out McMahon straight up the middle. The Western Bulldogs look good here. Cooney on the lead. Almost took it. Gian Syracusa, front and square. Gets out of trouble, hooks around on the left and kicks a terrific goal. Fantastic work by the Western Bulldogs.
That was,
once again, they just did it again.
That was so smart. There was a possession from Brad Johnson on the near side of the ground. He could have gone wide, but Brisbane had the numbers, Gary. The intelligent kick to bring it back inboard. You will see it to Scott West. That was terrific vision, opened up the corridor.
Well, that's the class of someone like Johnson and West, but also, too, there were 2 guys on Jonathan Brown ended up being when he actually went back for that mark. So they're working it quite well once they win the ball out of defence.
Gian Syracusa gets his second important reply after Brisbane had kicked 2 of their own. Chris Scott one out with Ryan Harris in the goal square. All other Brisbane players up around centre half forward around Jonathan Brown. Minson against McLaren. Johnson and Voss going at it. Bounce favours Brad Johnson. Need to be clean there. Ackermanis. McMahon evaded that tackle. Bouncing ball. Gilby. Boyd goes backwards. Too much on the handball. Moody with a bit of speed. Gets away from Smith. Matthew Moody lines up. Just pushes it to the left-hand side of the post for a behind. That was threatening and promising.
Question, Wayne. Do you think Simon Black's injured? He's only had 2 possessions up until this point in time.
You'd give him the benefit of the doubt. You'd say yes, he's coming back from a delayed start. But in saying that, let's not take anything away from his direct opponent, who's doing a terrific job.
Bulldogs now through Johnson and Eagleton, working it out of their defensive 50. Smith hugging the boundary line. Big punch, though. It's come straight back to him. Take 2, doggies. Johnson. Again, the skills of the Western Bulldogs prepared to go up through the middle. Boyd. Eagleton had run on. Murphy provides a lead for him. Just missing the target. Putting Robert Murphy under a bit of pressure. The line zone off and he kicks it long. Cooney's at the back. Lepic to spoil. Cross was coming through. Lepic just out of trouble. Ackermanis gets some help from McGrath. Has to kick. Gets cleaned up. Adam Morgan belts him and there's some retaliation on here.
Well, it's something you don't often see against the Brisbane outfit. They're so used to intimidating opposition players that Adam Morgan has cleaned up Ash McGrath. It's good to see he's on his feet again.
Umpires allowing things to go on. Well, McGrath's in the hands of the trainers. Selwood kicks it to no one in particular. And Brian Harris has got all the time in the world to bring it back. Still plenty going on at the other end of the ground. A lot of talk between the umpires and the players. And Lindsay Gilby, just want to settle it, will he? No. Well, here's Hargrave. Gilby right on the line. Hargrave, open forward line. Real good chance here for the Dogs. Long ball. Michael. Johnson goes back, takes the mark.
Wasted opportunity there, Ryan Hargrave. And Robert Murphy, but the kick had too much on it, Chris Johnson. As we so often see, read it better. And any player heads up towards Selwood. Manis runs by. Selwood has some time, measures his option towards Chris Scott. That's the chest mark. Wants to get it on quickly now. He's got McLaren who heads towards the goal square. Milton needs to arrive there. Did well, big Will Milton. Got a spoil on the ball. Comes out towards Gian Syracusa. Has some time, comes back inboard, and they're starting to do that a fair bit, Gary. Come back through the channel.
Well, it certainly gets the ball down into their forward 50 much quicker rather than going out wide. But having said that, Wayne, just watching Michael Voss, when the ball goes into Brisbane's forward 50, he actually forms a bit of a wall across the centre, so he doesn't go too deep.
Rowan Smith, poor kick. Put Gian Syracusa under pressure, but Chris Grant, well, he has a month of Sundays down there. Jonathan Brown arriving late, and Grant nonchalantly walks over the line, rush behind. And Lindsay Gilby will head down to the goal square and take the kick in. 9 points the margin in favour of the Bulldogs. Gilby doesn't waste any time, heads out towards Hargraves, who breaks from the huddle.
Ryan Hargrave to the advantage of Cooney. Wider. Pace by Robbins is good. He gets it just inside the line. Quick movement again by the Bulldogs. It worries the Brisbane defence, and Johnson takes it out in front. And Brad Johnson will go back and line up for his second. He's weighing up some options.
I think that move of Matthew Robbins on Chris Johnson is terrific because he presents and they'll kick it to him, and that keeps Chris Johnson honest.
He can exploit him certainly too, Wayne, because he likes to zone off where he'll play in front of his opponent. So providing you use him, it is a dangerous ploy.
Tough kick from this pocket, but Johnson is a wonderful player. Just to the wrong side of the post and behind. 39 plays 31. Now make that 40 to 31. 9-point margin as Luke Power chips it back to Mal Michael.
He goes further afield to Chris Johnson. Now, this is a sign that Brisbane's under pressure when they're having to go backwards and short, and again across the face of goal to Mal Michael. On this occasion, Michael's got some space. Short again to Selwood. Oh, Gilby arriving late. Did he infringe? Yes, in the back. Takes the free kick on Troy Selwood. But Gary, you know when Brisbane's under pressure when they're doing those indirect, short, over-possessing style of football.
They do like to change direction a lot in defence and try and find that free man lane, but certainly at the moment it is very much stop-start. We've seen here Bradscott's got to go back to the original guy who disposed of the ball, which is Selwood.
They've lost 40 yards there, Brisbane. And he's got some concerns, Lee Matthews, as we head towards half-time.
Not getting much movement up the ground, though, either way, the Brisbane Lions.
They go long, but standing his ground was Cross. Got it off to Smith. The Bulldogs threatening again. Gian Siracusa inside the centre square. That's 50. Arnold and Lepich head backs towards the goal square. Murphy wants it wide. He's got away from Chris Johnson. That's a terrific kick. Robert Murphy. Well, it'll take his best, providing he has a shot at goal. Normally a very good user of the football. 6-4 plays 4-7. 9-point margin. Favour the Bulldogs.
Another good matchup that's occurring in this game too, Wayne, is Ackermanis and Jordan McMahon. They're both one about equal share of the ball, so whoever gets it in space can be damaging.
It's just going it over, just a touch over 50%. 4 goals, 3. This for the 5th goal of the season for Robert Murphy. Important kick. Get the margin out to 15 points. Murphy from 52 pulls it to the left. Made the difference. His first score for the evening. Robert Murphy behind.
It seems also too, Matty, that when the lines break down when they're winning the ball out of defence, is it because Jonathan Brown deep in the goal square, so they don't have him coming up the ground as he loves to do when he's in good form?
It's the legacy of Noah Alistair Lynch as well, isn't it?
Johnson. That's missed the target. Here's Black. You mentioned whether he's fit or not. Just played a half last week and was under a cloud before the game. Well worked by Harris. Bulldogs on top through the midfield, especially in the air. Cross. Here they go again. Hahn sets up for home. Big long kick. Wrong side of the post though, and it's a behind. Bulldogs just taking over in this last 4 or 5 minutes. They had all the play. Probably look for a well-earned goal to get some reward for that domination. They lead by 11 points. We've got 8 minutes remaining, and Johnson again with not a lot of options. And Justin Sherman, the rising star from the round, provides one for him, and he's away. Big long kick. Grant and Brown. McGrath, Moody, tapping it back. Well done by Chris Grant, but it's not out of danger yet. McGrath slaps it forward. Adcock off a step. Going hard, Moody, right with him. Worrying him out of it was Boyd, and he got some help from Powell and a rush behind once again.
That's their 5th rush behind Brisbane. The Bulldogs not taking any chances deep in their defence.
Well, it's a safe play. It probably says as much about where Brisbane's actually kicking the ball, Wayne, and that's where they do like to go. As you mentioned before, they'd normally be kicking to an Alistair Lynch.
Smith to Hargraves. Cross breaks. Gilby up the middle. It's towards Cross. It's a well-weighted kick. Black arriving late.
Great work from Robert Murphy, too, to hold his opponent off to allow Cross to take the mark.
Numbers back for Brisbane. Morgan towards the boundary line, but Michael has got a hand there, as he so often does. Mel Michael sees the ball out of bounds for a throw-in between wing and half forward for the Bulldogs. 10 points the margin. Scott West with 13 possessions, as does Rowan Smith, Daniel Giansiracusa and Daniel Cross. 11 Brad Johnson, whereas for Brisbane, Lapham with 13, Voss and Ackermanis the only other players with double-figure possessions. Johnson on the second attempt, handball. Gilby it was coming through. Johnson has a second go. Got it back to Robbins, to Murphy. On the left foot, can he bring it back? Will it make the distance? Bouncing ball. Was it touched? I think it's a goal. Robert Murphy thinks so, yes. Correct weight. Robert Murphy gets his first goal. He has 1-1 for the evening. And Gary, going into half-time, there's some major concerns for Brisbane, Ollie Matthews.
And that's just a fitting reward for how the Western Bulldogs have probably played this last 6 or 7 minutes, Wayne. They've been attacking, they've been able to hold Brisbane up, and they scored a well-earned goal. And when you look at the way how Brisbane are playing, you would say that the Western Bulldogs are the better side.
$16-point margin now. And just after the 2 Brown goals, the Bulldogs have really steadied here, and they've got the momentum. And they've got the centre clearances down pat. Giansiracusa onto Cooney's chest, and he's a very good kick for goal. Adam Cooney is well within range.
With 6.5 minutes to go, Matty, you just don't want the Western Bulldogs to score another couple of goals.
Well, they're a rabble at the moment, the Brisbane Lions defence, because Johnson is all on his own. And he's kicked 1 goal 1, and you mark this one down.
If you have a look at where Brad Johnson is, within a space of 20 metres, you've got 4 Brisbane players there that have pushed back Gary.
Yes.
There seems to be a lot of finger pointing as if to say, well, you pick him up. But they've really got to get back to the basics of football, and that's being accountable.
Man on man. So Johnson to kick the Bulldogs' 8th goal. Goal umpire doesn't move. He's got 2. So once again, the quick centre clearance for the Bulldogs, and the margin out again to 22 points.
And I think that would be an area where Lee Matthews would be very, very concerned, that is, about the amount of ball the Western Bulldogs are winning actually at the stoppages, and their ability, once they actually win the ball, then to do something with it further down the ground. And Adam Cooney's been very, very good. We know he's got great foot skills, and Brad Johnson's kicked a goal. And he's actually worked really, really hard on Mackin in his first half.
Johnson with his second, held goalless last week in their loss to the Cats down at Skilled Stadium, but importantly, he's got himself on the board tonight. These Bulldogs are in front as they go towards half-time. Ackermanis got a handball from Lappin towards Brown. Grant did well. Chris Grant got a hand in there. Oh, Brown, was he taken high? Harris with the tackle. Loose ball comes out towards McGrath. Arriving late was Skipper. Moody back to Pike. Chips the ball high. Well, I'm not too sure whether that was a shot at goal or an intended pass to Clark Keating in the forward line. Nonetheless, Boyd takes the mark and relieves. Has power out of sight of the ground.
Again, the Bulldogs looking dangerous on the fast break, and Rowan Smith has it again. Murphy the target. Recovers well, bouncing back through the middle. Murphy's got a couple of options. One of them is Morgan. He's going wider. Hargrave had run all the way from the back line. Doesn't get a kind bounce. Lepic worries him out of it. Lepic. So this time the Lions, we haven't seen a lot of this. Them on the rebound. Selwood. Brown his option. Too far to score. And go back through the middle. Wheels around. Kicks it to the advantage of Moody. Good kick from Brown. So we've seen Moody get one from Power and now one from Brown. But it's a tight angle. The last one was very easy. This one's not so.
You talk about fast break footy, and that just occurred to the Western Bulldogs with Hargrave's kick not finding the target. Lepic met the ball, and it was really as much about Justin Lepic winning it in defence that they're having a score on goal now.
So Moody lining up for his second. Already kicked his first goal on AFL footy. Finds about a yard. Just getting around the mark, and he's pretty happy because that one's straight through the middle. We saddle up, Gary. There's a much-needed goal for the Lions.
Well, it's amazing how quickly the transition from one end of the ground to the other, especially if you're hitting targets, and we saw that with Justin Leppage to Troy Selwood, Selwood to Jonathan Brown, and Jonathan Brown again. It was a kick to a space that allowed Moody to run onto it, so he had the ball in front, and he showed good composure to go back and stop that goal.
His debut against the Bombers last week with 12 possessions, 9 marks, has 7 possessions and 2 goals tonight. Anthony Moody. Copeland and Cross. Really good to say. The Bulldogs forward line. Skipper has to stand and wait. This time Keating got a hand on it. Voss wrapped up by Farron Ray on for his first run this evening. Cooney couldn't take the slips catch. Arriving late was Ackermanis. Did well on his hands and knees. Harris heads out towards a teammate and Powell. There's a whistle on play advantage. West is broken. He's got 30 metres. Power, look out. Oh, Scott West did well. A grubber handball to Giansiracusa. Feigned the handball back to West. Centres the ball to the top of the square. Murphy, good mark. Another example of a terrific, well-weighted kick, Gary.
And McDonald found himself in very, very ordinary territory for a defender. He made a commitment to go, and then, of course, the kick's gone over his head, and he really can't get back there. But I think Robert Murphy's had an exceptional last 6 or 7 minutes. He's been instrumental in not only scoring goals, but also, too, working the ball into their forward 50. It's been a good move by Rodney to play him more forward, I think, this year.
Wonderful work by Giansiracusa, too.
And Scotty West.
Yep.
Robert Murphy for his second. Measures the kick, steers it through. He has his second. The Bulldogs have their 9th. As we make our way to half-time, Gary, what will Lee Matthews' message be to his players?
Well, he would certainly be saying, use your opponent as a starting point. I think too many Western Bulldogs guys are free. There's really too much effort, I think, being taken out of the Brisbane Lions defence. They need more out of guys like Black. They need more out of guys across their half-forward line, such as Pike and Keating. And really, they could be closer to the Bulldogs than what they are if they had those guys input.
6 goals for the quarter. Murphy has 2 of them. What a talented player he is. And he and Giansiracusa are running right. They've got a couple each. Cooney's been good as well. Again, the centre clearance. And here's Murphy. Lost McDonald easily. Breaks quickly. And take your pick. This one's Morris. Sharing it with Gilby. Just read himself in a bit of bother there. On the left, player standing on his own, and that's Boyd. Again, the Lions just zoning off and not being accountable.
The other thing that let me get that right, the Western Bulldogs are doing, Matty, is as soon as they get the ball, they're prepared to wheel around and play on. I think that's been extremely noticeable in this first half, that they don't hold on to the ball. They want to get it in there extremely quickly, and their foot skills are so good that they're hitting the target more often than not.
Wonderful shot of what is ahead of Boyd, and just off to the right. Big punch. It's still in play, and that didn't get punched through. Or it's actually behind, so we're going to go back and we'll have a score. So the margin out to 23 points. We're inside the last 2 minutes of the first half. Bulldogs doing well.
Well, it's been an impressive 60 minutes of football, Gary, from the Bulldogs. You expect, you're just waiting for the Brisbane Lions to get their game going, but with all due respect, the Bulldogs have done a terrific game shutting them down but playing their own.
And they answer with a goal when Brisbane Lions get a goal.
Johnson goes long towards Keating. Skipper, gentle shove in the back, doesn't waste any time, goes to West. Short inside 50, is that 15? No, play on's a call, Cross put his teammate under pressure, gets the hand back to Skipper, tries to break the Clark Keating tackle, holding the ball on this occasion. Brett Allen, terrific position, and they do love that holding the ball decision, Matty.
That's a wonderful sign, isn't it? Pike breaks for the Lions. He wants Voss. Miscommunication from a couple of Lions there, and Rowan Smith quite happy to take it. Still time for another goal for the Dogs as Smith, Robbins, just slowing it down now.
Waiting for an option.
There might be an opportunity to actually throw Justin Leppich to full forward, bring Jonathan Brown out to centre half forward, and maybe throw Chris Scott back into defence.
High ball, big pack forming. Almost a great mark. Grant crumbing. Chris Grant, wrong side of the post. Where did he come from?
Follow Jonathan Brown down.
I know that. That was a rhetorical question. But he's on top in that duel. And it's it was 2 straight goals at quarter time. It's 4 straight goals now.
Copeland to bring the ball back into play. Bereft of options, decides to go short. Johnson, some space. This is where they've been falling down now, the secondary phase. Well, he picked out Wade Skipper, who gives it off to Scott West. They'll go inside 50 West from a long way out. Bouncing ball. Does it sit kindly for Gian Syracuse? It does, but that's an outstanding tackle. And Robbie Copeland gets the pat on the head, and deservedly so from Chris Scott. Rush behind. Well done.
I think the Lions were pretty fortunate that there was Robert Copeland in the right place at the right time. He is a very good tackler. Gian Syracuse often can step around players very easily. So this is Lappin now. We run down towards half-time. Voss hits around Cooney. A long ball. No one at ground level for the Lions. Farron Ray there for the Bulldogs. Sam Power under pressure, wants the boundary line, gets it, gets the half-time siren, exactly what he was looking for. So another good quarter from the Western Bulldogs, and they've really set themselves up for a win here. They led by 12 points at quarter time. For a period in that second term after 2 Jonathan Brown goals, the Lions got it back to within a kick, but since then they have completely dominated this game, breaking very well out of their defensive 50 and using players like Scotty West at their best. We'll take a break here from the GABBA on Saturday Night Football. It's the Western Bulldogs leading the Brisbane Lions by 25 points.
Last week on Fox League Teams.
Hiding behind your Coke bottles, get out and write a hard-hitting article.
What's his role? To govern the game. That's it. Not govern a game plan.
Essendon will win.
Why?
Because we got a point to prove this week.
What would that be?
We've got to win.
Fox League Teams, tonight on Fox Footy Channel.
This May, make a Saturday night date with Max.
And we will only need each other. We'll bleed together. Our hands will not be tied to holding others, 'cause we're this special too.
Max has the Special 4 playing live and intimate for you this month on the Max Sessions.
Let's go down to Tiff Cherry on the boundary.
No concerns at all for the Western Bulldogs. Injury-free, spirits are very high in that break. Different story in the Lions room, very sombre. And just keep your eye on Chris Scott. He received a fair bit of work to his legs in the second quarter, in particular his right hip.
So we're set to go for the second half. Bulldogs looking for their 3rd win of the season.
Matty, Lee Matthews has reacted. He's put Brad Scott onto Robert Murphy after that fantastic second quarter.
Yeah, McDonald's gone to the bench, so too Simon Black. So he has been struggling for the Lions. Will Minson in the ruck for the Bulldogs. But as usual, right next to him, Scott West. As Darren White looks on. Also in the centre, Cooney and Cross. Rodney Eade looking for his first win over Lee Matthews. So far, so good for Rocket. We're underway. Minson and McLaren. West with the first stat of the second half. High ball. Tough one to mark. Copeland the spoil. Voss just trying to get it forward. Ackermanis has changed boots as he does at half-time. Might have to kick some goals. Oh, beautiful work, though, from Robbins. Opens up Cooney. Cooney, oh, he should have kicked the goal. A real let-off for the Lions, but Cooney might get back and get it eventually. Somebody, no. Oh, it's touched. Gee, what a let-off.
How good's Adam Cooney going to be? He was actually in that original contest and then followed the ball through inside Western Bulldogs forward 50, and really he was a bit stiff that he actually didn't convert a goal, which would have been a great start for the Western Bulldogs.
Johnson has power. Side of the ground. Comes up through the middle. Ackermanis on the second attempt. Takes the mark. Yellow boots. Only in the lights of the Gabba at the moment. That's a good kick. Finds Notting. It's it off to Brad Scott. Long ball. Morgan getting back. Should have been paid the mark in front and was. Goes to Hargraves. Links up with the stand-in skipper, Brad Johnson. Short ball. Cross. Is he up to it? Yes. Plays on quickly. Has a loose man. It's Gilby. It's down towards the line. Steering kick. Robin's got his hands on it. Should have taken the mark. That was an impressive build-up again by the Bulldogs. Gary, it's early stages, but we haven't seen a sign.
No, and you'd really say that Brisbane Lions, and I know this is something that we would never, ever question before, you wonder if they've got the real appetite for the contest at the moment, Wayne.
Minson against McLaren. McLaren, with a hand on the ball. Robbins again, he's been busy. Move of Brad Scott. Well, they'll certainly need to shut down the likes of Robbins, Murphy, these type of players, but they've got to win enough ball themselves.
Certainly got to be proactive, because that's the only way that they're going to win this game.
Simon Black, a forlorn figure on the bench for Brisbane at the moment. Cooney wrapped up in a good tackle. Chris Johnson going nowhere. Will have a bounce. Bulldogs with the only score of the third quarter behind. A lot of numbers around the ball, which Adam Cooney. Well, the old and the new there. Cooney just giving it to Michael Voss. Eagleton, he flew high. Voss stood in the tackle, got it off to Ackermanis, straight through the middle of the ground. Acker, can he get around the Scott West tackle? Yes, he does. Power links up well with Adcock. This is promising for Brisbane. Important kick for Adcock, the young man in his career, towards a goal square. Brown with strength. Did he take the mark? No. Play on's the call. Oh, just didn't stick.
Just not happening for him today. We saw last week how good he was, but the other interesting thing in that clearance, actually, back in the Brisbane defence there, Matt, was that the actual tackle that Will Minson laid on Voss really had some purpose about it.
This is Gilby sharing with Smith. In turn to Harris. Again, the Dogs out of danger easily. Spoil coming from Adcock, who started on the bench. Spent a fair bit of time there in the first half. Boyd, Skipper, Power and Ray. Ray hasn't seen a lot of game time so far tonight. McLaren and Minson knocked forward by Eagleton. There's a whistle on the play. It's a Brisbane Lions free kick. It's going to McLaren. The chip pass down the line sets up Pike. Has been paid the mark. So Pike has been the target a couple of times, Gary, early in this third term. Chris Scott going back with courage. Good mark. And I guess from the point of view of getting something started, he must kick this. He's missed a few already.
He does, but also, too, we need, well, not us so much up here, of course, but Lee Matthews need more out of Martin Pike. He's a guy that they go to often at centre-half forward if they need to actually fill that void. But that was actually probably their best passage of play. And Chris Scott showed enormous courage to actually go back with the fly of the ball and take the mark. And now he needs to convert.
Yeah, he's kicked two behinds and one just didn't quite make the distance. He's missed once again. And this is where the Bulldogs have been very good in just turning this around with a quick rebound footy.
Chris Scott came into tonight's match with 8 goals 4. He's now at 8 goals 7. He's had a terrific fortnight in front of the sticks. Gilby heads out towards Johnson. Couldn't take the mark, but he keeps himself involved to West. There's a loose player breaking. That was Eagleton. A bouncing ball favours Morgan. On the stretch, did well to Cooney. Can he break the tackle? Might have been legged. No play onto the call. Johnson working hard, the skipper. Doesn't keep the ball in. We'll have a throw in out of sight of the ground. They make that transition, Matty, as you said, from the goal square defensive end up to the other end of the ground. Make it look oh so easy against the 3-time premier. What do you need? Plenty to say down the phone. Minson in front, hasn't cleared the contest. Lappin, toe pokes it around the corner. No 15. Play on's the call. Pike somehow got it to Voss. West with the tackle. High ball. Harris against Ackermanis. Coming through hard there was Hargraves. McGrath to Pike. Well, it's not coming easy for Brisbane. That's a terrific smother. The Bulldogs, they'll rebound this time. Cooney got a hand towards Johnson. There's a whistle on play advantage. Johnson gets towards 50, has a third bounce, will steady the skipper. This will hurt. Early stages of the third quarter. And disappointing finish from the skipper, who's normally so good in front of goals.
Yes, you wouldn't expect him to miss many of those. Now 2-2 for Johnson. A look of anguish from the smiling assassin. Smiling so far with the margin still at 25 points, and Lappin now for the Lions to Brad Scott. Good chase from Robbins. Forcing the kick out of bounds on the full. So the reward for Robbins. And Gilby will kick it quickly, and he chips it over the top. He wants Eagleton. He's got to come back.
And that's the speed, Matty, that actually Matty Robbins possesses. It was quite quick, and Rodney Eve would be just absolutely delighted with Matthew Robbins' attempt there, because this is a free kick that they've won because of his defensive pressure.
Gilby just going sideways to Smith. Now he can go back to Harris. Lions have got all the players back now. He's just undecided because there's plenty of Lions in the defensive 50. High ball. Spills over the back for Murphy. Murphy goes again. Going back, Brad Scott, will be a rush behind, but Robert Murphy almost making something from nothing there on a couple of occasions. And it's a rush behind, and again, the Bulldogs press it.
Chris Johnson wanted to move it quickly and did. Got it to Lepage. He's got some space. Ackermanis breaks. Feigned the handball on the first attempt, has time, does it the second time. Ackermanis on that lovely left boot of his goes towards Pike. Hargraves getting back. But Martin Pike, the veteran, read it well. Took a important kick, Gary, coming up in the context of this match.
Well, he needs it as much for his own confidence too, I believe, Wayne. Like, it's been very stop-start this season for Martin Pike. And look, he's got the experience. He's a four-time premiership player, and that was made for him, and now he needs to go back and score this goal.
For his first, and Brisbane's first of the third term. He's got it. Martin Pike gets his first. They'll need more of that, the Brisbane Lions.
And once again, we saw that Justin Lepage was even a little bit indecisive when he actually got the ball to Ackermanis, but Ackermanis' long kick enabled Pike to actually have the sit on Hargrave, and he's gone back and taken a well-judged mark and then converted. It wasn't pretty again, but maybe Brisbane just need to work through this to get something going for themselves.
Seems to be a bit of a go-to man, though, at the moment. Get away from Brown a bit, not be so Brown conscious. First goal of the second half to the Lions, and in a very quiet GABBA crowd, Wayne. A little bit of voice, but they're not convinced yet.
They're waiting and we're waiting.
Voss wrapped up by Cross. This is power. Too much on the kick. Smith did well. Crumbed his own spoil. West got the call from Eagleton. Squeezes the kick forward. It'll be a boundary throw-in. Half-forward line for the Bulldogs. But Luke Powell now trying to go with West, and West trying to get onto Voss, and Cross is in the middle of that. Johnson to Cross. Oh, beautiful handball to Eagleton. Lovely reflex. He misses his target, but Gilby was there for the Dogs. That's a good kick by Gilby. That's a well-measured kick, and Hahn has got it. Crowd saying hit the ground, but great kick from Gilby right at the last minute. Just pulled the kick left, and Mitch Hahn has got a set shot for goal. And this is what we've seen most of the night, Gary, is that they've got the ability to answer a goal quickly, as we see the pass to Mitch Hahn.
It was brought about as much about Eagleton's experience to sit off the pack, feed the ball out, then to Gilby, and Gilby spotted up Hahn, who made quite a difficult mark in the end.
And that's not a good kick, and I think the crowd sensing that, well, some of them thinking that it hit the ground. I just missed the replay personally myself. Did it hit the ground, Gary?
Well, I don't think it did.
So just the behind.
Mitch Hahn with 1 goal, 2 this evening. Done well there to make Chris Johnson weigh up his options. Dangerous kick. Is that out of bounds on the full? Yes, it is. That's symptomatic of their night so far, Gary.
It's been such a strength of theirs, Wayne, over the years, is Chris Johnson's ability to be so constructive. And you certainly see now there's a lot more indifferent kicking in, if you like. And the Western Bulldogs have just done it extremely well with their zone tonight.
Nathan Eagleton on the wrong side for a left footer. He's a lovely kick of the ball, though. He clashed with Tom Harley last week against the Cats. Saw him stretch it off, but he's recovered well. An important player thus far for the Bulldogs. And Michael just giving it to young Adam Morgan, and the young man standing up to him too, the man Mountain. Eagleton from just inside the boundary line gives it a ride. It'll go across the face of goal. Not a bad attempt. Just shaves the woodwork. Another behind for Brisbane. The Bulldogs, I should say. The margin now at 22 points.
That was a fantastic attempt. I mean, that's the most difficult pocket to kick a goal from here at the Gabba. And that was as good as it gets. Black preparing to come back on. This time Johnson finds McGrath, so we have take two. McGrath has power further afield, but this is where it'll stop. Plays on quickly. High ball, Minson there for the Dogs. Notting flies in front. Lappin, who's been quiet of late. High ball. Grant sets himself. Couldn't take it. Cross there. Voss trying to burst through. Somehow got it to Chris Scott. Pike again the target. Front and square. Cooney busting through. Ackermanis lurking. Didn't take it. Sherman caught. So too Notting. Spins around holding the ball now. Will they break quickly, the Dogs? They do. This has been indicative of their play all night. Get on with it. Scott West. It may come back quickly though. Power trying to outrun Johnson. Chips it up to Pike. And Pike another mark for this third term.
And he's been important in this last couple of minutes, and with his experience, this is what you know Martin Pike can do. Another interesting move by Rodney Eade has also been to play Brad Johnson for most of this quarter at centre-half forward. But once again, I think the Brisbane Lions in the last 4 or 5 minutes have developed that appetite for the contest. And Michael Voss's hands previously on this wing area here was just superb to feed the ball out to Chris Scott.
Pike for his second of the term. It's a mongrel. It'll be a rush behind, not his best kick, and he's not happy. Neither side really. There's been a few rush behinds at both ends, but 7. And I think last week against the Bombers, they had 7 out of 10. So, which they're hitting it to the goal square, but not taking any marks.
Rowan Smith to himself, and that's a wonderful kick. Eagleton have broken. They've done that fantastically all night. Chris Scott allows Eagleton to play on around the mark. Poor pressure there. Chips the ball over to Robert Murphy. Morgan heads up the middle. Murphy decides to have a bounce. Robert Murphy now goes long towards the square. Hahn and Lepage. Lepage got a hand on the ball. Eagleton, strong tackle, got it to Robbins. Did Johnson get a hand on the ball? Yes, he did, towards Cooney. Stood up in the tackle. Adam Cooney, oh! Well, that would have been a wonderful finish. He's appealing for the free kick, but Lepage got there in time to affect the spoil. Consequently, the ball hit the post.
And I think Cooney just wanted that ball a little bit more than Luke Power. You wouldn't see that too often. The other thing that the Brisbane Lions are employing too on the Western Bulldogs kicking is they're going man on man. What they do need to do if they're going to do that is actually hold that second kick up. Allow the first kick if that's going to be the case, but hold the second kick up.
Johnson, just the short pass to Black. It's a 22-point ball game. 9:15 plays, 6:11. And Blank kicks it out in the full.
Confidence.
There is no confidence at the moment. We saw it from the Lions' point. Now, we've got a boundary throw-in. Now, Simon Black ran out of bounds before he kicked it. So maybe a bit of luck for the Lions. The Western Bulldogs a little bit confused here. They thought they had possession of the ball. Lee Matthews has got plenty to think about. Over the top comes Mount Michael. McMahon spills towards Ackermanis. He got a call out wider from Power, trying to inject himself into the game in front of Sherman. He's got to beat a couple, and the 18-year-old does. He's going to get it back from Brown. Sherman, poor kick. 3 Bulldogs players, they can raffle it. Gilby has the winning number, and here's the rebound once again. Chris Grant goes for the Bulldogs. He's on centre wing. Looks ahead. Target is Morgan. Trying to move it quickly. Chipping in board and stealing it is Johnson.
Scotty West just waited for the ball, but Johnson did well attack it. Sherman can have another go now. He's got Ackermanis in support. Chris Scott has broken, but he goes back to Chris Johnson. Good work. Finish it off with a goal. Gives it to Notting from 40 metres out. It's Brisbane. Wasteful.
That would have been their best passage of play for the night.
Well, we've been waiting for that. The run's got to come off, and it comes from Chris Johnson, as you so often. But you've got to reward the run by finishing the goals, Gary.
And certainly we haven't seen Brisbane do that tonight, but it just shows, I think, where some of the confidence levels of the respective Brisbane Lions players are.
This is Rowan Smith going wide to Cooney, and they want a little bit each way on a goal here from the Bulldogs. No, Cooney's just going to slow it down.
At least he's held him up this time, Matty.
Yep. And he's forced to go back to Smith. No one coming to Rowan Smith. He decides that he'll go, and he can kick a long way. They want him to kick it high, but he's found a player on a lead. It was Hahn, Lepic, Spoil, stolen by Hargrave, doesn't kick a lot of goals. He's got one now, and they get the goal on the way back. Just the 10th goal of his career. And once again, the Bulldogs, from an easy miss at the Lions' end, they come back and kick a goal, and they've got the margin out to 27 points.
It's a 2-goal turnaround. How often do we see it in modern-day footy? You miss up one end. No one actually manned the mark. Rowan Smith was quite willing to actually play on. Mitch Hahn's given a contest. Lepic was probably a bit stiff. Hargrave swooped on the ball and kicked the goal. Well-deserved goal by the Western Bulldogs.
The Dogs seem to have all the answers here at the moment. Wonderful goal by Ryan Hargraves. Makes his way back to the fence. Minson got it to Cooney. He's been very busy in this third quarter. They go inside 50 again. This time Robbins caught behind Adcock, stood up well and took a good mark, the young man. Well, that kick might have been intended for Simon Black. Doesn't get a kind bounce. Scotty West, he brought his own ball. Heads down to the line. Robbins, good contest. Adcock. Well, that young man there, a lot of the senior players can take a look at that young man's game. He mightn't get a lot of the ball, but at least he's trying his best, Gary.
And he's playing for a spot next week. That's what he's doing. But how many times have we seen the Brisbane Lions turn the ball over tonight and the Western Bulldogs have made them pay? I don't think I've seen a Brisbane Lions side turn the ball over as much as I have tonight.
Vincent, another tap. Off the ground, Copeland, the ball ricochets back. Favours Boyd. Cooney's there to see it out of bounds. We'll have a throw in. 8.5 minutes remaining in this third term. Scott West again goes to Michael Voss. Luke Powell tries to go to Scott West. And you have top 5 possession winners on the ground. Top 4 are all Bulldogs players. Minson against McLaren. There's a whistle on play. There's a free kick off the ball, holding the man. Luke Powell, the recipient.
Power spots a player in the middle. Made Sherman work hard. And even his kick, not really the advantage. But Johnson attacking, hooking it back into the middle. All Bulldogs here. Johnson, Lappin gets a free kick, perhaps a tad lucky. Just under 8 minutes remaining. I couldn't see the free on the replay.
Slightly pushing the back. Slight pushing the back, I think, maybe.
So Lappin now measures the kick. McGrath couldn't take it. Morris can. Back to Gilby. And they work it out nicely. Boyd looking for a switch. Murphy again provides up the middle. We've seen that a lot tonight. Robert Murphy. Longer kick. Beautiful kick too to Ray. It must have swapped with Ray because Adcock has got Ray. Taking his time. The Bulldogs still in control of this match. High ball. Skipper the target. Michael up for the spoil. Lepic in front. Shares it with Ackermanis again.
They're away Brisbane. The kick towards Sherman. Didn't get a kind bounce. Gilby read it well. Goes towards Skipper. Got away from Lepic. And there's that turnover, Gary. The kick had to hit Sherman from Ackermanis. And Acker, I'm not too sure he's got right there to give it to young Sherman. Turnover, Gilby towards Skipper, shot on goal.
Well, Gilby showed really good poise here to actually leave his man and meet the ball. I think that was the important play in that, even though Ackermanis has certainly missed his target. But once again, we see how the Western Bulldogs can hurt the Brisbane Lions when Brisbane have turned the ball over, and now Skipper's having a shot on goal.
For his first goal in AFL football, Wade Skipper, slight angle, and not at this particular stage. Pushes it to the left. Disappointing result there.
But really, the Western Bulldogs are controlling the tempo, though, too, Wayne. They're making really all the play, and the odd mistake that they make, then Brisbane seem to get the ball back rather than Brisbane making the play.
You stand corrected. The young man's kicked 4 correct.
4 goals?
None this year.
That's it. So once again, it's just Johnson decides he's going to himself. There's not a lot of movement. He's on a spot of bother. Lappin. Cooney presses. Lappin around the corner. That's a good kick. Brad Scott. That's not a good kick. Gilby again. Off the ground. Well trapped by Lepich, but he put Brad Scott under pressure. Bulldogs will come up with this. No. Lappin. Ackermanis. McLaren was standing on his own in the middle. Keating the target, or Brown. Crowd tells you that Brown's got it.
But even in that transition from defence there, Matty, it's really hard work for Brisbane at the moment. Anything that they're doing just seems to be a real labour at the moment, and that's unusual. So it probably just says how much their confidence is being shot at the moment.
Contested mark. There was only one contested mark by the Lions in the first half. And Brown's lining up for number 3. I guess a lot of the crowd are hoping that he's the one that can get them going, but the way the game's... I mean, that's a forlorn hope, isn't it? The way the game's progressing. 5 minutes remaining in the third term. The Lions down by 28. Brown attempting to make it 22. A little bit of blood just trickling down the sideburn. The collision after the event. Holds its line. Brown has 3. Can he get them going? Who knows? It was a strong mark, but as you said, Gary, it was hard work to get it there.
It was, and look, they always seem to be looking for him when they actually go inside their forward 50, and we know how good a player is, and why wouldn't you go to him? But once again, it was one across half-back with a lot of hard work. Ackermanis, McLaren's carried the ball, which you'd like to see him do more, and once again, he's weighted the ball to an area. Jonathan Brown stood his ground, copped a nice hip in the ear roll there, and Keating probably did a good job to keep his man off him to a degree.
Yes, how long he gets away with that, we'll have to wait and see. Up to the top of the hand, Jonathan Brown, but importantly, he gets his 3rd goal. McLaren. It's a tap going forward. Gilby's kick smothered. So that the spark the Lions need to get going. Voss, hurriedly, high ball. Keating, he's gone forward. McGrath, dangerous here. Bulldogs have the numbers for the moment. Oh, look out, you're in trouble there. Morris goes towards the boundary line. Was it deliberate? No. We'll have a throw in. Who's been attacking? 23 and 3/4 minutes played in this third term. The margin, 22 points. McLaren and Minson. Johnson, hurriedly. Well, in years gone by, Gary, that would be deemed as deliberate.
Well, when in doubt, go to the boundary line.
Well, what's the backman's motto? When in doubt,
your boundary line's your best friend.
Never been down there, mate.
I only got down there if I was lost.
Easy, take
got
him
out of there as quickly as I could.
Take him aside at 3/4 time, Gary.
Lappin. Let's get back to the serious stuff. Sherman, he's starting to find a bit of it. Heads out towards Brown. Did he get a hand it? Yes. The ball stay in. Harris. Arriving late. Keating might have hurt himself there towards Cooney. Well, that should be a free kick. Advantage paid. Cooney still on the ground. Brisbane player down on the ground in their goal square. Murphy in the meantime takes the mark. That's Clark Keating. Met heavily there against Brian Harris. It's a sight they've often seen with Clark Keating. Never been able to get himself consistently out on the football field. Let's hope he's okay. Murphy goes back to Cooney. Gets around nodding. Gets it off to Gilby. Can go back to Cooney if he wants now. Squares the ball to Grant. Morris provides the run. And there's a good sight. Clark Keating back on his feet. Harris, a long way from home. Has some time there. Jonathan Brown there to put pressure on. Hargraves coming through. Did well. Couldn't keep the ball in. We'll have a throw in outer side of the ground near the interchange bench for the Bulldogs.
Just got the feeling, Gary, this next 3 minutes before 3/4 time, the Lions are trying to get something happening.
Certainly with Brisbane there, with Ash McGrath, his effort before, we see here Clark Keating. He's really met him quite solidly.
Hit his head on the ground. Ackermanis Could have used Voss. He did in the end, and the old 1-2. And Ackermanis likes it from here. Left boot. It's got plenty on it. Keating's in the right spot. Free kick. Now, it's going to Brisbane. Is it Keating or Brown? It's Brown. Chris Grant can't believe it.
Jonathan Brown has got unbelievable courage, Matty. He's got no fear whatsoever.
There it is.
Sort of the arm over the shoulder, wasn't it?
So Brown is going to line up for number 4. And Chris Grant probably got a case to be a little bit disappointed there. Keating has a spell.
It's not his night.
Not sure he knew it was coming. Brown for his 4th, but importantly for the Lions, they get a bit closer. For the second time this evening, Jonathan Brown has kicked 2 in a row. Chris Grant shaking the head. But it's back to 16 points. And what we've seen so far tonight, Gary, this is where the Bulldogs come back and kick a goal.
They do. They're very good in the last 4 or 5 minutes of the quarter. But you have to take your hat off to someone like Jonathan Brown. He was on the wing at a previous contest, and he's worked probably some 80 to 90 metres back to the top of the square. Did receive probably a soft free kick, but once again, he's given Brisbane an opportunity to get back into the game.
Jonathan Brown certainly doing his bit, as is that man there on screen. 8 possessions along with Michael Voss. A couple of their important senior players combining with Jonathan Brown to keep the hopes of a Brisbane win at home alive. Ackermanis again somehow managed to get the ball out, Notting. Evaded the tackler. Now they go long towards the goal square. Brown and Grant again. Brown! Second attempt. Takes a good mark. They're alive here at the GABBA.
He's brought the crowd to their feet, mate.
Well, he's one of these players. You talk about a Michael Voss, you talk about a Wayne Carey when he was playing, a James Hird. Great captains and great players have the ability to influence a game when their side needs it most.
And he certainly needs to do that. He's leading. But once again, actually, I love the intent of Ackermanis trying to burst through. He's trying to make something happen. The ball went forward, Notting balked around a particular Western Bulldogs player and then went to the hot spot. Jonathan Brown just held his ground and took a great mark.
This for number 5. Jonathan Brown, measured, methodical. He has number 5. The margin now back to 10 points. The challenge fairly at the feet of Rodney Eade and the Western Bulldogs.
He has to respond now, Wayne. And certainly the Western Bulldogs, I think, have just been on the back foot in this last 4 or 5 minutes. Just a couple of signs you would see Brisbane Lions getting back into it. Once again, the ball's gone long and direct to that area just outside the 10-metre square. Brown's holding his ground. As I said before, wonderful courage, and his last 2 goals have certainly given Brisbane an opportunity to get back into the game.
Brown has 3 in a row, margin back to 10 points. Just under 2 minutes remaining. McLaren was looking for Lappin. Where's Scott West when you need him? Boyd out to Power. Sherman arrives late. Power did enough. Mitchell Hahn not there. Eagleton. No, this is Brad Scott. Good chase by Hahn. Scott must hit the target. He does. Nodding.
Harris on to Jonathan Brown now. Rodney Eade soon enough with Chris Grant.
Tim Nodding keeping it low. And the pass was all right in the end. Chris Scott spilled it. Here's Ackermanis again. 10 disposals for the quarter? No. He's gone out of bounds, and so has Martin Pike.
Well, his boots have matched his 3rd quarter.
It's been very good this year. They've had a couple of midfielders down, and Ackermanis has been more consistent than the rest.
And he's played different roles too this year, Matty. He's actually tagged on a couple of occasions.
McLaren starting to have an influence on the game after Minson and Skipper were busy early. Free kick out of bounds on the full. Things just starting to turn against the Bulldogs. The bounce of the ball. It's the beauty of this game, Gary. Momentum. You can look down and out, but can swing very quickly. Copeland. Still time on the clock for the Lions to get one more as we go into 3-quarter time. High ball. Here they go again. Chris Scott. The Lions running in numbers. Brown's got himself into some space. Here comes Harris. Barron Ray's making his way over there. Peels off. Jonathan Brown. 3 goals in this 3rd term. Centres the ball, goes backwards to Leppich. Got numbers aplenty, Gary. They're starting to find their targets. The confidence up. They're working their way back into it.
They're winning the one-on-one contest too around the stoppages, Wayne. I think that's had a lot to do with it at this point in time, and they're rebounding now well out of defence.
Knows how to kick a goal, Justin Lepage. This will light him up at the GABBA. Gives it a ride. Pulls it to the left. Will sneak in. Oh. Inside of the post. Margin now 9 points as we head towards three-quarter time.
So just seconds remaining in this third term, and just when you looked and thought that there was a comfortable margin for the Bulldogs, the Lions have kicked the last 3. Seconds remaining. Is there time for Johnson, who receives from Smith? Tries to backpedal quickly. As soon as he brings the ball back in, well, time on is blown. So a burst from the power forward, Jonathan Brown, late in that third term. The Lions kicking 4 goals 5 to the Western Bulldogs 1 goal 7. So they've had their opportunities, the Dogs. Rodney Eade knows he now has a game on his hands. That man there, Ackermanis, did his best in that term to get the Lions back into it. We'll take a break from the GABBA. It's the Bulldogs now leading by 9 points.
Join me tonight as we transport you back in time to the hot topics.
It is very disheartening.
The memorable moments.
Have you spoken to the umpire yet?
And classic vision from footy's yesteryear.
Footy Flashbacks with Jason Bennett tonight on Fox Footy Channel. Didn't catch Fox Footy's Saturday Central last week, here's a taste of what you missed.
I was just probably happy you did it because I just dropped an absolute sitter in front of me.
It's going to be our pressure that, or lack of it, that wins or loses to the game.
Cracker off the deck gets another.
Full credit to the Tigers, they were terrific in all facets of the game.
Some good luck for the rest of the year for the Saints.
Not a problem, Chief. Thanks very much.
We come here with a bit of confidence and hopefully we can cause an upset.
Oh, what a goal, Brett Johnson!
Saturday Central, live and exclusive from midday Eastern, only on Fox Footy Channel.
So Michael Voss attempting to lead his team to a win. We'd have to go back to 1998 for the last time the Lions lost 3 in a row at the GABBA. And they're still 9 points down. The Dogs have led for most of the night.
Chris Grant gone forward now, being picked up by Justin Lepage. Brad Johnson out of the square with Copeland.
For the entire night, in fact, the Dogs, and we're underway for the final term. Skipper trying to get it free. West, likewise. It's not coming out. Ackermanis shot it out to Sherman. Moody couldn't take it. Rowan Smith could. That's a terrific handball to Scott West. Did the right thing by just giving it off to Jan Siracusa. Eagleton. McMahon runs hard. West. And we can't afford to let him get back in the game, the Lions, because if he continues to get the footy, they usually win. Doesn't matter. Great finish by the best kick in the AFL at the moment. Lindsay Gilbey with his first. Great start by the Dogs in the last quarter, and I think they just caught the Lions napping, Gary.
Well, he's just so dangerous coming off that wing sort of half-back area, and he has got to be, at the moment, the most improved player in the AFL, and I would certainly say he would be leading the Western Bulldogs best and fairest at this stage, Wayne.
Out of contract at the end of this year, you would think that his form continues, his value continues to rise as well, Gary. That's his 12th goal for the season, Lindsay Gilbey, and just the start for the Bulldogs. Brisbane finishing that third quarter on the back of a terrific turn from Jonathan Brown. That's just the start the Bulldogs were after as we enter early stages, fourth quarter. Johnson just fends off. Cross. Could have been a little bit high. Voss overran the ball. West, quiet by his standards in the third term, but he's got 2 early touches in the fourth. Cooney towards Boyd on the stretch. Couldn't take the mark. Adcott there to do pressure. Did well, young Jed Adcott. Lappin. Got it to Voss. Ackermanis. Well, we spoke about his third term. Lappin. They've got a loose player here now. It's Notting. Pike Burst forward. We get a handball. Martin Pike can go short to Brown. It's where the kick was intended. On the slide was Mooney. Pike gets it again. Martin Pike for the quick reply. Pulled it back. Well, he pulled it back way too far, out of bounds on the full pressure. Off for the Bulldogs for the moment.
Another player that's done a good job in that third quarter too for Brisbane Lions has been the move of Brad Scott on to Robert Murphy as well.
Gian Siracusa to Morgan. Chipping up the line. Oh, good attack on the footy by Murphy. Left Scott standing and then kicks it long. Grant's got it where he wants it against Lepic. Lepic almost took the one-hander. Michael comes in to lend a hand. Johnson's dangerous from here. Oh, what a goal, Brad Johnson! Oh, that's a match winner by the skipper. Oh, something from nothing, and that will really spark the entire team. He's got 3, and he just plucks that from nowhere.
One of the best goals you ever would have seen, Matty.
Look at him laughing.
Well, Justin Lepic a little bit unlucky, but from that angle, Mal Michael would think, yeah, it's going over the boundary line. To have that,
shit, so he'll have it
eventuate. Oh, God, nightmares. The stand-in skipper leading from the front. What a magnificent mercurial goal that was from Brad Johnson.
Once again, Pike misses up one end, 2-goal turnaround.
Yes, we've seen that throughout the course of the evening. West busy now towards cross. Bouncing ball evaded Johnson. Murphy with one hand. Brad Johnson, well, he does the soccer style again. Gets it to Boyd. Comes back inboard to Skipper. Off a step, around the corner. A vacated goal square. The right-hand side of the point post. A bit disappointing there with Murphy.
It looks like the three-quarter time siren blew at the right time for the Western Bulldogs.
And Scott West just gets his hands on the footy and things happen.
Brad Skipper with 2 behinds for the evening.
The huddle for the Lions. The centre of the ground. In the end, Johnson picks out Luke Power. Plays on. Misses his target. And the Dogs will be happy they've got a throw in. Let's go to Tiffany Cherry.
You'd say the Lions have a bench reduced to 3 with Clark Keating after that heavy fall receiving a fair bit of work on his neck.
Hit the ground pretty heavily in that third term, Keating. And McLaren will do the ruck work for the rest of the quarter, and here he is up against Skipper. Punching it forward. Eagleton in the best spot for the Dogs. Gets past Adcock. Gives it away, though. Ackermanis. High ball. Pike there. So too Hargrave. Kicked a goal. We don't see him do that very often. Handballed that one out of bounds, and we'll have a throw in. Just the Lions, just forward of the centre for the Lions, and the Bulldogs have got the first 2 goals of the quarter. They've given themselves a lot of breathing space here.
They certainly have, and as I said before, that three-quarter time siren, I think, blew at the right time for Rodney Eade. He's regrouped his troops, and they've certainly been all over Brisbane this first 4 or 5 minutes.
Ackermanis running forward, dangerous, inside 50, one of the best in the game at finishing. This time's not to be. It's across the face and a behind.
Well, he took a risk there, Jason Ackermanis, and when you're a player of his quality you can afford to. He took the punt that a teammate would win possession. The finish wasn't just rewards for the hard work and good skill there, but that's why he's so dangerous, Jason Ackermanis. In the meantime, Brad Johnson receives a long kick. Cross is broken. Chris Johnson closing fast. Look out. Has West in support, but intercepting the ball was Power. Did a good job on Scott West in that third term. High ball, Ackermanis. He's doing his bit, Acker. Wanted to play on. No.
I think he wanted to.
Holding the man. Thought it might have been a mark.
I thought he had the football.
Yes. Funny that. Anyway, doesn't waste any time. Towards Brown. Harris with a good spoil. Still in the danger zone. Brown got it to Notting. Wants to get onto the right boot. Steadies. Measures it. Does he bring it back? The crowd thinks so. He thinks so. It's a goal.
He's been a very important player coming off the bench for a number of years now, Tim Notting, and I've always asked the question, why can't he be in there starting 18?
Well, he is in there starting 18 or off the bench. He has been in there 18 a fair bit of late. There have been times, I guess, during those grand final periods.
Yeah. And the structure's obviously changed now, but certainly he has got better as this game's wore on. And he just showed a lot of good composure then, not to get himself under too much pressure, wheeled around, kicked the goal.
Notting gets the goal. Margin back to 15 points for the Lions. The Dogs lead. Cooney trying to bust through the tackle. Secondary bounce.
That goal also was brought about by Jason Ackermanis, wheeling around and getting it in there quick also.
Bulldogs haven't been good away from home. They've given themselves a wonderful opportunity here as Cross got it from Eagleton. Great handball out wide. Boyd, Morris, Murphy, danger. He's a very good... He kept it in. He's looking for the free kick, and he got it. What a clever player Robert Murphy is. Brad Scott just worked it. He worked that out beautifully, didn't he? And then chip pass to Gian Siracusa. And he'll have a shot for goal. He had a quiet third term. He's come back into the game early in this last quarter. Just a one disposal in the third quarter for Gian Siracusa.
Matty, how have you seen the debut of Mark Fraser tonight as an umpire?
Well,
Haven't noticed him.
No, well, that's
a good sign.
That's what we want, isn't it? We don't want to notice umpires. Gian Siracusa for the answering goal for the Bulldogs. He's kicked two. This would be a big one, the third one. And it just holds its line. He was hoping for it to come back. Just A behind once again.
You're right, though, Gary. Matthew, they've responded every time the Lions have challenged.
The thing that would be pleasing Rodney Eade, I think, too, mate, would also be the challenge that these younger players are actually taking on, whether they're playing on the Voss, the Ackermanis type players. And I think he'd be pretty pleased, regardless of what the result of this game may be.
Adcock kept the ball in play. Not on this occasion. No, there's a whistle on play. There's a free kick advantage paid. Lappin. He's got some space now to Sherman. He's got some toe, this young man. Gets himself into some space. Steers the kick towards Brown. Harris. Brown got a hand to it. Harris did well. Oh, met late. Notting. Kept his feet. This for his second of the fourth. Got it. Well, I thought he might have given away a free kick. No whistle. Kept himself going. Brian Harris is down on the ground holding his head. But importantly for Brisbane, Tim Notting gets his second goal and they're still alive, Gary.
And once again, Lappin's actually brought the ball back in through the corridor. Young Sherman had the kick and waded up to Brown.
That's the free kick against Skipper.
That was high. But the best kick, I thought, was Lappin's kick back into the corridor. Brown's ability... Harris did certainly get met quite heavily. But once again, Notting's actually worked himself back into the corridor and once again has scored a very vital goal.
Notting has two quick ones. Margin back to 10 points. It was 9 at three-quarter time. Chris Grant had gone forward, now moving to defence. Plenty of numbers back there, and here's a chance for Cooney. He can kick a goal here, Adam Cooney. Runs inside the forward 50. Not his best kick. It may bounce through. No. Johnson still under pressure from Gian Siracusa. Michael. It's been good tonight, Michael. Hasn't made many mistakes. That's a high ball. Chris Grant in best position. Black spoils. Lappin trying to keep it alive. We have a boundary throwing once again. GABBA crowd trying to get involved.
It's probably the best thing that Simon Blake's done all night, mate. Actually, just to make a contest. Just get there and spoil Chris Grant.
Well, we know how great a player he is, and it's a test for any player coming back from a serious injury that you work your way in. But importantly, when you do those team-orientated things, you're doing the right thing by the side. There you go, fumbled the mark. The ball, sorry, Sherman. Has another go, backs himself. Ackermanis there in support. Does he keep it in? Yes. Pike will give it back to Acker. Other side of the booty, Acker goes short towards the pocket. Brown. Harris did well. Got a fist in there, sees the ball out of bounds. Jason Ackermanis is bobbing up all over the place, and he's certainly providing the spark for the Brisbane Lions.
27 disposals now for Ackermanis, game high. Western Bulldogs been good at the centre breaks. Scott West has been involved again. Free kick. It goes to McLaren. Chris Grant not having the best of nights when it comes to the men in yellow. Let's have a look.
That's a direct result of a player that doesn't normally play in the ruck, who's been caught out of position. It's an instinctive thing rather than a deliberate decision.
So Dylan McLaren to get the Lions within a kick. He's kicked 2 goals for the season. This is a real pressure kick for someone that's played 35 games of AFL footy. Off the boot. A goal. Lions have 3 in a row. And Gary, from the point of view of Brisbane, they've gone on from Notting, and McLaren, not through Brown, Ackermanis. Their big names are getting them from the lesser names.
And we always felt that it was going to be important that they share the load. And look, this may be as much about Chris Grant actually grabbing him rather than the actual so-called push there. But McLaren, who's not a noted goal kicker, has actually gone back, and it was a very pressured goal. So they're a real chance now.
No more important goal for Dylan McLaren than that one just there for his Brisbane Lions. The margin now 4 points in favour of the Bulldogs. Matthew Robbins is being picked up by Mel Michael in the Bulldog goal square. McLaren tackled by Cooney. Not out of the centre square yet. West working hard as he's crossed. Black with a good tackle. We'll have a bounce inside the centre square.
Lepich is loose up one end and Grant's loose up the other way.
So the challenge fairly at the feet of the Bulldogs players. They've been up to every opportunity in every challenge so far tonight. How will they respond? Voss, the skipper, Grant, redeems himself this time. Chris Grant takes a strong mark. He's got a loose player, and that's Harris. Goes further afield to Cross, who's got Eagleton if he wants to, the near side of the ground. That's where he heads. Skipper leads Lepich. Well, they've been held up here. Squares the ball to Cross. Good run. Ackermanis stands the mark. There's Smith in support. That's where he heads. Goes short inside the square. Eagleton plays on. Gets around Pike. Now goes long towards Johnson. Ball, too much weight on that. Johnson gets back. Chris Johnson, that is. Cooney there to provide pressure. Stays in. Brad Johnson. Handballs backwards to Black. To Chris Scott. Educated kick outside the defensive 50 for the moment. But Gian Syracuse can drive it back inside 50 again. Boyd, lovely half volley. Wrapping around there. Chris Grant to redeem himself. Grant. No, offline. Michael sees it out of bounds there. And we'll have a throw-in up against the right point post. 4 points the margin in favour of the Bulldogs.
Great work by Chris Grant, not just in that, because there was a little tap onto Gian Syracuse when the ball was on the ground. It was just super play.
It looks like to have been a move made here, Matty, where Skipper takes the centre bounce, then he pushes forward. He's Lepich's direct opponent, and Grant goes on the ball in general play.
It's all Bulldogs here. Hargrave went without it, then back to Robbins, ball out of bounds.
Simon Black has been moved on to Scott West. Was busy in this fourth quarter. That's a good move again by Lee Matthews, Gary.
Absolutely. Why not put one of your better players on the best player for the Western Bulldogs and just get him to follow him around, because you know West will get the ball and will take Black to the right spots.
Here's Eagleton, sharking beautifully. What's that like? He's kicked it! Oh, another great goal to the Bulldogs. Well, we saw Brad Johnson before, now Nathan Eagleton, and again, a bit like Ackermanis at one end, backed himself in, sharked it off the contest, great finish. Well, there's been some match-winning goals by the Bulldogs.
The last two goals, dare we say it, have been pretty special by the Western Bulldogs players. And once again here, Eagleton sharked the ball from the ruck contest, put it on his right leg, which is not really a noted right foot kicker. And really, it's a very timely goal in the context of the game.
3 goals apiece in this fourth quarter. Nathan Eagleton gives his side a small buffer. Plenty of time left for Brisbane. 10 points in favour of the Bulldogs. Skipper over the top, coming through Lepich with strength. Hahn applies the tackle. Boyd got a hand on the McLaren handball towards Ackermanis at centre forward. Well, he looked every bit out of position there, but ran back, turned around and got himself into play and took the strong mark. One way, then the other. High ball, well, take your pick, Bulldogs. Daniel Cross read it in front of Matthew Boyd. Handballs to Chris Grant, covering both ends of the football field, the veteran. There's some one left in those legs, Gary. Has a bounce. West is broken. Goes up towards Skipper, now can give it off to West. Important kick coming up, keeps it low towards Robbins. Michael. Well, he wore him closely, sees the ball out of bounds for a throw-in.
Let's go down to the boundary to Tiffany Cherry.
Brian Harris not too well. The medicos keep running out to him after that fall. He keeps grabbing his head, and Chris Grant has fallen back to help him out on the ground.
Ruck contest. Stepping through some traffic, Moody. McLaren gave it to Johnson, couldn't take it. Black, back to Moody. Good chase by Boyd, did enough.
Looks like a high tackle there, I think, maybe.
And it's coming back to Brisbane.
The defensive pressure by the Bulldogs, the young Bulldogs outfit's been a real highlight tonight.
They've been very good, as I said before. Rodney here to be pretty pleased. He'd certainly want to win the game, but they've stood up to the test of the Brisbane Lions at the GABBA, haven't won here since 1999.
Good spoil by Gilby, and we've got a boundary throw-in, so almost halfway through the last term. And as I mentioned, it was a 9-point margin, now it's 10. As McMahon comes on for Morgan. Plenty of numbers around the ball. Power. Taken by Brad Johnson. McMahon with some speed and some run through the middle. Nice pass. Robbins. The Bulldogs break quickly. Michael, as I said, hasn't made a lot of mistakes tonight, and he's opened Lepic up here. He's got some space. Here comes Murphy, though. Lepic going to back himself. Going to kick it high to the goal square. Harrison Brown. Well worked by Harris. Did enough just to be behind. Margin back to 9.
Great chase, Robert Murphy.
Yep.
Never gave up and just managed to get a hand on Justin Lepic, not allowing him to kick on his preferred side, Gary.
Just did enough. And once again, that defensive pressure that the Western Bulldogs have been able to put on the ball carriers of the Brisbane Lions, I think has been fantastic tonight.
Smith to McMahon. Outer side of the ground. Just under 10 minutes remaining. Last quarter. It's been an enthralling battle. Chris Grant. No one stands the mark. Now Jonathan Brown does.
Lee Matthews has to do something here, Wayne, because you've got Justin Lepic on his own on the wing, and Chris Grant's getting some pretty important touches, just holding the Western Bulldogs up.
McMahon short to Boyd. He goes out wide. He's got runners there aplenty. One of those is Smith. And so let's give him the benefit of the doubt. That's an educated kick. Nothing really on, so he heads towards the boundary line and gets an extra 40, 50 metres.
It was like both teams are just waiting for a turnover at half-back to see if they can maintain possession.
And Skipper off and Minson on too, Matty.
Eagleton was trying to run through again. Sherman slung out of bounds on the full. Chance for the Dogs. They're inside their forward 50, and not a bad bloke to have the football in his hands either. Brad Johnson. Rodney Eade can sense that if they can pinch another one and make it a 3-goal game, then the clock becomes an enemy for the Lions. Johnson goes back a long way to Smith. Chip pass back, and this time it's Boyd. 60 metres from goal.
We've just got to question what that last passage of play actually achieved.
Wasted a bit of time.
Hands off. Smith, designated kicker, set sail for home. Big kick, big pack forming. McLaren gets back to do enough. Touched. Boundary throw in. Deep inside the Western Bulldogs forward line. It's had a big night, Roman Smith. 27 disposals, 7 marks. Michael. This is McDonald. Spent some time on the bench. Kicked it long. Off McGrath's head. Nodding to Voss. Searching handball. Scott's going to be under pressure. Spills forward. Hargrave. That's gone towards the boundary. The crowd want deliberate. It won't be. It'll be a boundary throw.
Mustn't be on the new umpiring DVD, the out of bounds deliberately. Throw in. Minson and McLaren. A couple of young guns. Black read it well. Got it to Ackermanis. Boyd managed to get a hand in there. They've got the numbers. They did well, the Bulldogs. It's Morris, actually. Johnson breaks. Heads towards Cooney. There'll be too much on that kick. Michael stood his ground. Wants to move it quickly. They've got numbers inside the middle of the ground. That's a dangerous kick. McGrath, he's got to be up to it. McMahon arrives late. Eagleton tried to soccer the ball off to the ground, and they'll rebound this time. It's through Sherman. Heads up towards Brown. Wearing him closely, Harris. Smith, you talk about him. Matthew, he gets another possession. Switches play, goes out to Robbins. Happy to slow it down, Matthew Robbins. Cross, good run. He's got some space too, Daniel Cross. Copeland chases. They'll go inside 50. They'll need a mark here. Michael gets a fist on it. Good spoil. Cooney there to put pressure on McDonald. Ball's out of bounds on the full. Yes, Cooney doesn't waste any time. Brings it inboard to Gian Siracusa. He's got a runner out wide, and that's Morris. That's where the kick heads. Voss gets back. Morris got his hands to it. Couldn't take the mark. Still deep inside the Bulldogs. Forward 50. Voss got it from Ackermanis. Power, they're away for the moment, the Bulldogs.
Power tries to cut through the middle. Look at Ackermanis still going. He was on the ground a second ago. Ackermanis, long ball. Grant goes back, and that could be the match-winning move at the moment. Chris Grant is holding things up. Takes another mark, and Daniel Cross running hard for him.
The other thing is too, Matty, Rodney has got enormous faith in someone like young Morris. He's now got Ackermanis, and 2 weeks ago he had McLeod. So a lot of faith in the young boy.
Eagleton just holds the kick up. Chance for the Western Bulldogs here. Mitchell Hahn does well, spins around, turns up. Oh, wonderful work from Mitchell Hahn. The Bulldogs might have done enough here. On the rebound, another goal for the Western Bulldogs, 2 for Mitchell Hahn, and Chris Grant gets some applause back from his teammates. Very important mark.
In a close game too, Matty, you look at certain situations, and Jason Ackermanis, maybe it's a bit of tiredness, just didn't have enough carry on the kick. Chris Grant's intercepted it. The Western Bulldogs have worked the ball forward, and Mitch Hahn's been a good player for them in their forward 50. He works extremely hard, and he's also scored a couple of goals as well.
Statistically speaking, he's only touched the ball 5 times, but he's managed 2 goals too. It's been an important contribution, Mitch Hahn.
And played a role too, Wayne.
McLaren to Lappin. There's some time now. Important foray forward. Harris has left Brown. Did well. Took the mark and goes out wide. Brad Johnson. They're full of running the moment at the Dogs. Johnson tied on the boundary line. Kept it in. Did well. Gian Syracuse, a great gather. Off to Smith. Squares the ball to Hargrave. They seem to have the answers at the moment. The Bulldogs. Dangerous kick. Notting. Intercepts the West disposal. Bereft of options. Now handballs over the top to Chris Scott. Another uncharacteristic mistake from the Brisbane Lions. Smith has West there. Will look to draw the opposing player. Does. Gets it over to West. The experienced campaigners for the Bulldogs combining. Off to one of their new breed. Gian Syracuse goes down the line for the goal scorer in Mitch Hahn. 60 from home. Robert Murphy. Morris heads towards the pocket.
Sorry, Wayne, you just sense that the push is over. The Dogs have just steadied here. And the move from by Chris Grant. They're getting plenty of ball out of Rowan Smith. Brad Johnson. And they're sharing it around. And here is Rowan Smith. Coming up for disposal number 31. Back to Murphy, and they might still think, well, there's still 5 minutes to go, but if you wind one off, well, that makes it 4, and then 3 goals in 4 minutes. They're quite happy to just keep possession. Have they done so? Murphy evades the tackle. Gilby likes to use the footy. Good pass. Grant has got it. So Grant drifting forward, doesn't have an opponent, can go forward whenever he likes.
Justin Lepich has been his direct opponent, and he tends to play off, and he wants the kick when the Brisbane Lions win it out of their defence, it seems like to me up here, and Grant's just dictating the terms. So Lepich has just got to either play on him or drag him deep into their forward 50.
Chris Grant, been very important in this last term, just the one behind so far tonight. On the reverse angle, they lead by 15 points. A goal here. And the drought at the GABBA should be broken. The former captain likes it off the boot. Oh, just hits the post.
Chris Grant's second behind for the night. 8 Bulldogs players with 20 or more possessions. For the Brisbane Lions, it's only 3. That tells its own story, Gary.
They use a lot of the ball, we know that, but they've certainly got high possession gatherers tonight.
McDonald. Short to McLaren. Minson arriving late. Well, that's not going to get you a goal quickly. They've got to get the ball down directly through the corridor, give Brown a chance. It's where the young man heads. Brown will arrive late over the top of Hahn. Couldn't take the mark. The ball spills free. Well, 2 Brisbane players waited there, Gary, which is uncharacteristic for the Lions. Hargrave does well, keeps it in. Gian Syracuse dropped the mark. Finds West to Smith, the old firm. They're away again. Smith decides to have a bounce. The space opens up. A second one. McGrath in pursuit, but the kick's a good one. Finds Robert Murphy.
You wouldn't see that too often, would you? There were 2 Brisbane Lion players here, and now look how tired they look. Power, Lappin, Ackermanis, Chris Scott, all hunched over. 3 minutes to go. It's very rare that you see two look at each other and then the Western Bulldogs player just took the ball away.
Well, very few people outside of the Western Bulldogs would have given them a reasonable chance of causing a major upset up here.
Great
but,
effort.
you know, let's not take anything away from this young Bulldog side, now coached by Rodney Eade, as Robert Murphy lines up for his third goal. And the final nail in the Lions' coffin tonight. Murphy from 50 metres. It's a lovely looking kick straight off the boot. 2 hands in the air. And the congratulations from his teammates. He has 3.
Quite often in adversity, it's amazing how other players will lift. And in the absence of their skipper, the Western Bulldogs have really just been superb. They've taken it up to the Brisbane Lions. Rowan Smith has been terrific. I think Rodney Eade has coached well. He put Smith back to half-back flank in this game. He's been playing forward. And once again, the skill level of the Western Bulldogs. Rowan Smith spotted Robert Murphy, and he's called back and kicked a long goal, and he knows that they've got this game at this point in time.
The Bulldogs were challenged. The Lions got within a kick, but the third goal for Robert Murphy will signify a wonderful win here for the Bulldogs. They lead by 22 points. They have finished strong. Lappin out towards Notting. Gilby right with him. Notting just trying to belt it forward. Ackermanis comes in to lend a hand. Pushes it out towards Power. This time no hesitation between Power and Lappin. Power wants Voss. Can't take it. Boyd. Voss. Too fierce. Minson missed it. Boyd got it from Gilby. But from Harris, I should have said. It's Cooney now. Sorry, it was Gilby. I was right the first time. Cross. Brad Johnson. Possession still racking up for the Bulldogs. Eagleton's been pretty good in this last turn. Kicked the last 3 goals, the Western Bulldogs. And they will take their season to 3-4. 2 wins in 3 weeks. Just the loss to Geelong as McLaren is wrapped up by Big Will Minson. Big game for the Western Bulldogs next week. They'll take on Kangaroos at the Telstra Dome on Saturday night. And the Lions head to Amy Stadium to take on the Adelaide Crows. Johnson already kicked a magnificent goal tonight. Not to be that time, but he has just managed to squeeze it in for a behind. So another score, 15-20, 35 scoring shots. The Lions 12-15 to 27.
Well, accuracy has been a problem all year for the Bulldogs, but on this occasion it hasn't come back to bite them, Gary.
They've certainly made all the play tonight, Wayne, and as I said before, Rodney Eade would be extremely pleased in his short time at the Western Bulldogs. Once again, Lindsay Gilby's left his man. He's shown that he's got confidence, whereas Tim Notting's trying to peel off.
Leppich has another go, this time from 60 metres, heads towards home. The kick favours Voss. He got away from Boyd, but arriving late there, good support was Brian Harris. Saw the ball out of bounds. We'll have a throw in as the clock. Under a minute remaining. Jonathan Brown, well, he's certainly tried his best with 5 goals. Great support from the likes of Ackermanis and Lappin and Michael Voss. But apart from that, the Brisbane Lions will be beat for the first time in a long time by the Bulldogs. There's Jordan McMahon and Ashley McGrath see the ball out of bounds for another throw-in.
They've won the last 7, the Lions, so the Bulldogs will change that up. What a great win, given that they've lost Luke Darcy. And as you mentioned, Gary, so many other players have stepped up. We know what we expect from Smith and West and Johnson, but Hargrave has it now.
Also, too, Matty, it's Rodney Eade's first win against Lee Matthews.
He has broken that drought after 5 straight losses. So a lot to like about the Bulldogs from tonight as Chris Grant will just soak it all up. Taking his time as the clock runs down as he heads long. Minson the target. On the stretch, McLaren. Moody, Sherman. Siren sounds. Great win for the Western Bulldogs. Mother's Day round. And they can celebrate tonight and they can celebrate with their families tomorrow. And as I know that man, Brad Johnson, will. He's a proud father and he can certainly look forward to a big family day. What a great win by the Western Bulldogs. In control right throughout the evening. The Lions challenged in the last term. The goal by McLaren got it to within a kick. But then the Bulldogs steady to kick the final 3 goals. A couple of absolute belters too by Eagleton and Brad Johnson. And they've led at every change. It was a close game towards the end, but they've been deserved 23-point winners. Their 3rd win of the season.
You certainly got to admire him, Matty, because Rodney Eade made a statement by dropping Jade Rawlings, and they come out and won the game.
Let's go down on the ground. Tiffany Cherries with Brad Johnson.
Well, Jono, you're pretty excited. And Rocket said before the game he was hoping for an upset. You delivered it in style.
We did. We've been together for 3 or 4 days up here, and you could just tell the guys' preparation was spot on this week. And 22-man footy, that's what it's about, and we produced that tonight.
You kicked 3 goals. One of them was a spectacular soccer goal. It was aftermark of the goal of the year.
Yeah, no, I couldn't believe that, actually. That was a bit of surprise on my own face, you'll probably see. But you throw your leg at those, and if they come off, well, you know, it's just a benefit to the team.
You guys haven't beaten the Lions for over 5 years, and some of the guys wouldn't have even won here. How much confidence does that win give the boys?
Oh, great. We haven't won interstate for a long time, I don't think so. So we can now progress. We're the same wins as them. We step above them now, and that's what the goal was for tonight.
And you spoke about through the week, obviously, with Luke going down with a knee injury, that that's an opportunity for other players, and it really showed tonight, especially for young Will Minton.
Yeah, Will and Wade Skipper did well in the ruck and gave us first use for most of the night out of the middle, so it was a great win.
All right, mate, on the finish of the song, well done.
No worries, thanks.
VFL is back.